I'm here on Leeds and Bradford. In a moment here at the side of Leeds and Bradford Airport, we'll be seeing the Concorde arrive over my left shoulder. It's coming down that way into the very blustery side wind. We hope you'll be able to make it without diverting to Manchester. By the side of the runway here at Leeds Bradford, the excitement's mounting as we wait for Concorde to appear over my left shoulder. As you can see, the wind's very strong and there is some doubt as to whether the pilot will be able to land in this crosswind. By the side of the runway here at Leeds Bradford Airport, everybody's excited because we're awaiting the arrival of the first Concorde to land here. It'll come down just over my left shoulder here. That is if the cross. Here by the side of Leeds Bradford Airport, the excitement's mounting as we wait for the first Concorde to land here. It'll arrive just over my left shoulder in about 10 minutes' time, crosswind permitting.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream. Today is the 24th of the 10th, 2021, 6 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. We're back in X-Plane 11. We're back in the Colimata Concorde. Version 2 has just been updated. I've been looking forward to doing this stream for quite some time. I've watched that video several times in the past of this Concorde landing at Leeds Bradford. We're going to play a bit more of that video later on in the cruise as well, so you can see us see what it's like and how difficult it was for the guys to land at this airport. So I can't believe I'm taking it on myself there, but hope you're all doing very well. Who have we got here? Rex, thank you very much for the 2 months. He goes, hello everyone, ha ha ha. Thank you very much for your 2 months as a membership. My friend from Wales as well. Lee Russell, thank you so much for your £20 donation. I guess you didn't realise that intro was coming. He says, the only way to spend my 35th birthday. Happy birthday, Lee Russell. I'm sure everyone else will share that in chat as well. Have some cake on me. Thank you very much. Hope you're well, Skipper. Fair winds and good luck to you on this route. Don't even get me started. I said, right, there's one of 2 things that could happen here. Either I overrun the runway at Leeds, or I get a wasted landing, because the only way I don't overrun the runway here is to get a wasted landing. Just don't flare, put it on the numbers, and then brake really hard with the reverses. It's incredibly difficult, but I thought, why not try and demonstrate it, or how it's not meant to be done for you guys this Sunday afternoon as well. Thank you for your 6 months as a member as well. Fantastic. Who else have we got here? Eddie Mambo, Taylor 314T5, Martina, Mark King, Captain Timothy, Otterfly, John Padfield's here as well, Abby as well. Thank you, John Padfield, for saying hello to you for the £5 as well. That's very, very kind of you. Oh my goodness me, here we go.
Taking a Concorde into Leeds. You demand.
You demand. It's one of the most difficult things I've ever done at any live stream, but thank you very much, John Padfield. Yeah, we're going to follow the checklist, everything as realistically as possible. I've been practicing. I've done 3 practice sectors, multiple approaches as well. You know, we're going to treat the first approach as realistic as possible, so if I'm destabilised, it's not looking good, we will execute the missed approach and go around. But yeah, flight time, guys, what do you reckon? I'll let you know shortly, but a scheduled commercial airliner today would take 4 hours and 30 minutes to get from Gran Canaria to Leeds. You could book a ticket with Jet2 today if you want to do that. 4 hours 30 minutes. Hazard a guess at how long it will take in Concorde today as well. Martina, practice 40 hours a day. Oh, not quite that much, but plenty of practice. Pretty much all of yesterday there. Rui, cheers from Portugal. Bye to you. What is the length for the runway in Leeds? Around 1800 metres. It's pretty short there. Captain Danny Boy reckons 2 hours. Pilot 2 Sim 2 hours. A smidge under that, it would seem. We'll have a look at what it is today. We are running the sim 4 hours behind live time, so we can actually enjoy the you know, the scenery. I've got Dorbex True Earth and actually see me smash it into the runway there as well during the replay, which will be really cool. Minimums. Lesser 277, thanks you 2 months as a member. Another Flight Deck to Sim stream just in time for dinner and a Concorde nonetheless. Absolutely, Lesser 277. Thank you very much for your 2 months as a member. Glad you're enjoying your time here as well. But here she is. Here is the Colimata Concorde. Completely cold and dark. We've got the catering just attached here. I have to say thank you to Jordan, one of my members, who made this livery quite a while back actually. It was when I first streamed Concorde just over a year ago. This is our 5th ever Concorde stream. We've done the classic Heathrow JFK, my fourth ever Concorde stream. Sorry, we've done Heathrow JFK, we've done JFK to Barbados, and Barbados to Heathrow. And today, this is where we finished our members group flight last weekend, and I thought we'd just take Concorde for a spin to Leeds Bradford, of all places. Flight time, guys, is about 1 hour 50 today. 1 hour 50, very fast indeed. We've got about an hour in Mach 2 before we'd have to start ascending. It's incredible, absolutely incredible there. Anyway, due to that entertaining intro, we'll take the opportunity here to board the aircraft. Oh, well, I would try and board the aircraft, but we're missing the air stairs. Let's grab that. I don't know where they've disappeared to. So let me just go to flight preparation. No, it's under aircraft, sorry. Doors and ground. There's stairs ready. Ah, there they are. They've reappeared. Yes, Gran Canaria's apron's well known for sinking. Sinking ground and stuff. It looks like a lot of the static objects are sunk down. But here we are, Alpaca Flight Deck to Sim Airways there. You can see it's Alpaca Airways, powered by the Flight Deck to Sim community. In we go, into the cockpit. Ah, yes, smooth as silk. There we are. So, where's the jump button, Dealey? I haven't quite got that, just the arrow keys to move around there. The stairs disappear all the time. I found that Andy H1302. I think if you shift the weight or load fuel or load payload, it makes a lot of the static objects disappear. I found that in the last few streams. Oh, that's not Jack barking, by the way. That's someone walking their dog outside the house. Really having a good old yap there. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. Yes, that video I showed you at the start there. We're going to watch a bit more of that later, of the Air France Concorde landing in Leeds back in 1986. And I'm going to be following his example, trying to smash it down, basically. Right, so, version 2 then of the Colimata Concorde. What has Florian been up to? I think essentially he's allowed you to now manipulate the fuel panel. I think it's a little bit more realistically modeled now, so you can actually move the fuel around yourself. Don't even get me started. I was thinking about having a go myself. I did have a go. I just really don't know what I'm doing. And the workload, especially on the approach phase, is far too high to then start manipulating, making sure you're in trim. There's no flight management computer on this aircraft. We only have INS. And, I'm flying a procedural approach today unless there's any VATSIM ATC. He's also implemented the Avitab plugin here as well. What's another cool feature is he has now allowed his custom INS. You can now actually load your entire flight plan using the custom INS as opposed to having to use the Seva INS plugin, which is good because that's no longer supported by the developer, and that causes all sorts of stuttering and issues. So you can actually use this. I don't know how accurately modeled it is. Like, the way you input information is different to the Seva plugin. For example, the present position you don't need to do, it's automatically done it. So I don't know if it's entirely accurate, but it is usable, and I'll show you how to use that today as well. Right, anyway, let's, as I said, get the show on the road here. So I have my little external walk around checklist. I'll imagine that's completed, and the safety inspection checklist as well. It's just ensuring that the critical switches are all in the right position. But here is the custom Alpaca Airways Concorde checklist, modified again by Jordan, one of my members. I've linked the livery, but I actually don't have the link for this checklist. But if you really like this, let me know in the comment section below after the video, and I'll share a link to anyone that would like this checklist here. It's basically the one that's included, but it's been edited slightly to show you what panel you'll find those switches, which is pretty cool. Excellent. Javelin really likes the side window reflections. Yeah, I think basically if you use the command ! aircraft, you'll find a link to a news article regarding the V2 update, and that explains all the changes that have been made here. Andy, the Feeless INS is better, but I'm glad we've got it, and the stutters from the plugin are consigned to history. Absolutely, Andy. It's usable, and it allows you to navigate, conventionally using INS. It could do with some fine tuning. You'll see today it's a bit wobbly around waypoints, but it gets you from A to B. That's the important thing. Right, preliminary cockpit technical log is checked. Ground power is on, but it's not modelled, but you can see it's already connected already. Main batteries we just need to turn on. There we are. That brings the aircraft to life. I've got it all turned down from the test sector I was doing earlier and streaming to some of the people in Discord. You can see it's all doing its self-tests on everything. Needles are spinning and waving and doing not what needs to be done. Equipment bay cooling panel. We can turn that on. We'll just wait. I'll just wait until it's completed its self-tests before I start flicking all the switches on here. Martin said interesting. John Padfield, apparently there's Concorde coming for flights to 2020, which will feature the FMC that Concorde was about to get should services have continued. That's really interesting, John. I had no idea that would have been modelled. I don't know who the dev is that's making the Concorde, but I have seen some screenshots of it. Looks very promising. Cool. Right, equipment bay cooling panel. Let's turn all those switches to auto or on. Oh no, those ones to be on auto. And that's looking good. Oxygen panel's set. I think that's down here. You don't really need to flick any switches there, but you can see we have plenty of crew oxygen pressure as well. Drain mast heaters can be turned on. They are here. INS 1, 2 and 3. It just says go straight to a line, so unlike the INS Siva where you go standby, update your position and then go to a line, I've just been going to standby on all three and then to a line straight away, and it just starts the alignment process straight away. There doesn't seem to be any ability to put your present position in with the inbuilt INS that comes with this aircraft there. So that's all set. Why have I got loads of these lights on? I thought when I put the equipment bay cooling on, these lights extinguished. That might be because that one's not normal, perhaps. There we go. That's looking better. Air data computers can come on. They are down here. Air data computers on. Emergency equipment's checked. No smoking. And seatbelt signs on. There we are. So, we are already pre-fueled and pre-boarded for this sector. So if I go here to flight preparation, payload manager, we're half full. Okay, 75 passengers on board today. We'll imagine they've got all on carry-on baggage. We've got no cargo here. It's giving me a zero fuel weight of 84.7. Now, through trial and error, I have found an amount of fuel required for this sector. Basically, I started this test sector ages ago, and then I started doing it again yesterday, and I just went with a full load amount of full tank of fuel, basically, all the tanks full. I think it was like 96 odd tons of fuel, and see how much I burnt. Obviously, I had plenty left for this sector, and I found that the amount which you're taking today, which is 68 tons, which you can see I've already pre-fueled here, is enough to arrive into Leeds Bradford with about 24 tons remaining. Now, one of the things I'm not so sure about here, you see these figures here, you have a pattern approach on landing 30 minutes, you're burning 4.7 tons of fuel. That's absolutely rubbish. You know, I found, I guess the fuel burn on this is quite close to the real Concorde, but if you're around the pattern altitude or, you know, flying around 200, 230 knots, the aircraft burns 26 tons of fuel per hour. Not, what would this be, 9 and a bit, which is about 3 times less fuel that's been predicted. So the 30-minute final reserve fuel figure on this aircraft is 13,000 kilos, 13 tons. When you get below 13 tons, you have less than 30 minutes of fuel remaining. So based off that, we should be arriving into Leeds with about an hour's worth of endurance, which is enough for me to have at least one approach to go around with, you know, being able to do a second approach without having to declare a mayday or anything like that. But as I mentioned on one of the previous streams, Concorde used to fly around what would be deemed today as a sort of always a fuel emergency. If that aircraft had to go around, or Concorde had to go around for whatever reason, it didn't have a huge amount of fuel left to keep holding, essentially. But yeah, she is a thirsty bird, Snapshot, and very nice to see you here in live chat. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I haven't seen you in months. Snapshot, ladies and gentlemen, is an Air Force pilot who approached me a few years ago now. He's flown, I forget what it was now, but yeah, he's a serving Air Force pilot as well, so we've got lots of experience often popping in chat here. Geordie, what cruise level? So Concorde doesn't have a fixed cruise level, it has like a continuous cruise climb. Based off our gross weight, we should sort of start levelling off at around 57, 58,000 feet. By the time we approach top of descent, we'll have reached 60,000 feet. You know, what you actually have to do at that point, you can't go above that, is actually, you know, bring the thrust back a little bit, I found, otherwise you'll exceed MMO, but we'll discuss that later. We've got loads to do on this sector. Right, so where did we get to? Seatbelts and fasten seatbelt sign on. As I mentioned, 68 tons of fuel is sufficient for this sector to arrive into Leeds with about 1 hour's endurance left. Let's do the before engine start flow here. So master CBs can all come on. cockpit preparation is complete. Oxygen checked 100%. DV windows closed. Flight control inverter switches are on, so we can just close the guards on those. We have the flight control augmentation system all in blue, and the anti-stall system is all on. Radio INS switches to radio. We'll be using conventional navigation for this SID initially, and then switching to INS navigation once we've completed our final turn on the SID, so that is both set to radio. Instrument transfer switches are all set. Altimeters checked and set as well, so we do have a centre controller here, actually in Gran Canaria at the moment, but I don't think he's covering us at the moment, so no, we don't have actually any ATC serving us here. So what I will do is just grab the METAR and see what the weather's doing here. So right now in Gran Canaria, runway 03 left for departure. The wind is straight down the runway, 030 at 17 knots. Classic Canaries, always windy. A few clouds at 3,000, scattered at 4,500 feet. Temperature is a lovely 25 degrees Celsius, so you should be able to see there, look, we've got 24 on the static temperature, and the QNH is 1018. So we can set the QNH now, 1018. Set there, and we'll set Jim's as well. QNH 1018 is set. CV on the 727 works well, same for 737 Classic. It does with the Concorde. There isn't a fix to prevent the stuttering, so you get this stutter when you use the CV INS, so that's why I learned to use the one that's included and has now been updated with version 2 of the Colimata Concorde to ensure it works. You know, you can at least program it to fly your routing today. Right, altimeters are set, audio control panel is on. As I said, we are on VATSIM. We need to turn up the lighting here slightly as well, so let me just put on the radio, so that's that blue switch, and let me just turn up the lighting here slightly. There we go. It's a little bit better. And turn it up this side as well. There we go, and I think we've got some lighting controls up here. Let's just turn it all up a little bit. Perfect. So we got to audio control panel set, nav radio set. Right, so let's have a look at our departure, and we'll show you all this shortly. So runway QDM for departure 03 left is 026. So let's set that to our present heading. I want to actually pull this for heading control. So what was that again? 026. There we go. We're going to probably accelerate to 250 knots. We have a very low stop altitude on this SID, unfortunately, 4,000 feet, so I'm going to try and comply with everything as realistic as possible. 250 below 100, we're going to have to cancel the reheats quite soon after departure as well, otherwise we'll bust 250 knots very quickly. We're not super heavy today. And what else do we need set? So this departure, it is a conventional SID, but it's a bit complex because all these waypoints are based off radials, so we're going to actually have to maintain magnetic headings until we intercept this 038 radial at 18 miles, which is Colon, lovely, and then make a left turn. This is a radar heading which would be provided by ATC if it was on line of 319 degrees. So based off that, let's tune up the Gran Canaria VOR, which is 112.9er. 112.9, and I want to know the 038 radial for Colon, so let's set 038 for our course here. About 038, and eventually we're going to intercept the 356 radial from the same VOR, the Gran Canaria VOR, all the way out to Bimbo, and Bimbo's look 202 miles away from Gran Canaria, so let's tune up that 356 radial for Jim, and then we can switch over to that later on. You accidentally flew half a sector with the reheats on. That's impressive. John Bradfield. 15 minutes is the maximum amount of time you can have the reheats on. And one of the updates with V2 is, or the Colimata V2 is when you start the reheats, it starts the chronometer. You still can't, unfortunately, set the timer for takeoff. This is lifetime minus 4 hours, but you can't restart the elapsed timer, and you can't start the chronometer manually. I don't know why. It'd be quite good if we could, but it's still only based off. That's how long the sim's been running. X-Plane 11, 10 minutes, and I can't reset that at all. Dealey, got to run. Have a great flight. Good luck with the landing. Can't wait to catch the replay this evening. Thank you very much for popping in, Dealey. Enjoy the rest of your day there. Very good. Excellent. Let's now carry on with this then. So the nav aids I've set. and the MCP. And brakes wheel management has been checked, nav lights as required, so we should have the nav lights on at this stage. Throttle masters to alternate. They are set to alternate. Ground hydraulic check out, yellow, yellow off. So that's over here on the engineers panel. We have yellow, yellow, and these switches are off. Fuel heaters to auto. Took me ages to find these earlier, but they're over here. Fuel heaters to auto. Engine recirc valves are shut. They are shut. Secondary air doors auto. They are in the auto position, and batteries are already on, and we're now ready to load up the INS. Perfect. HK's flight simulations, and this means they will release sometime next year. What's that you're referring to there? Not sure. Paul, as a young Sheffield lad in the early 80s, a Concorde captain from Sheffield flew over that high over the city for the Lord Mayor's Parade. Very cool, Paul. I won't be trying to do that today. I just want to get it on the ground in one piece. That's all I want to achieve. Cool. Here's our operational flight plan then. So it is generated off SimBrief. Regrettably, there's no Concorde profile, so it is just based off a 737NG. However, it does give me all the figures I need. Let me just make this a little bit smaller because it's not going to be clear enough. So ignore the fuel, ignore the flight time, but laterally it has all the waypoints I need to program into the INS. And I've sort of built this on existing airways, but also this sector here is along Shamwick Oceanic. So these are the Tango airways, which I have not flown them, but a lot of airlines in Europe utilise these Tango airways. They're not the North Atlantic tracks, but they do go into Shamwick Oceanic airspace, and you don't need ETOPS approval or anything for this little segment here, but essentially I've flown this sector, well, not necessarily to Leeds, but you know, all the way to the UK several times. These airways I'm familiar with. So that's where our SID terminates, and we just need to program these waypoints into the INS. So going to the first page of our flight plan, the first INS waypoint I need to program is the Bimbo waypoint, which is where our SID terminates. So that's that waypoint there. At that point, I'm planning on being supersonic already, so we're going to be straight over the ocean today. So this INS, if you're used to the SIVA INS, a little bit different, okay? Usually what you'd have to do, and I'm guessing would be the case with this one, it's just not modelled yet, you need to find out your stand. So we're on Tango 20, and then with that you can access the coordinates or it on the chart. Tango 20, so 19 through 21, north 27, 55.8, west 015 degrees 23.5. Now if I go here to waypoint or position and put 0, you can see it's already there, so you don't need to put your initial position in on this INS. You need to just go straight to programming the waypoint. So you literally go to 1, it already comes up with the coordinates for your present position, or a different position in this case. You just need to change it to the first waypoint, and it works completely fine, I've found. So let's go back to our operational flight plan and go to Bimbo. Also, the waypoint entry is different to the SIVA INS2, so you have to put it, you don't put insert for your latitude and insert for your longitude, you put it all in and then press insert after you put both your latitude and longitude in, so it's a little bit different there. NIDSI, some weeks ago, Lufthansa made his last flight on the MD-11 here in Brazil. Now it's being replaced by the 777. Yeah, the MD-11 is on its way out. Yes, I did see Rotates put their MD-11 in beta as well. We've obviously flown the Mad Dog before. No doubt we'll fly the MD-11 as well when that comes closer to Reese. Perfect. So Bimbo, let's pop in the position here. So that is north 31.25.3. You should put it insert, but with the way this is modelled, you just go straight into putting the longitude. So that's west 0, which you have to put in 16.020, and then you press insert. So it's a little bit different, the entry, but it does work in the same way essentially as the SIVA INS plugin. Waypoint number 2 then is Vabem. So that is north 36.33.0, and then west 013.194. Insert. Waypoint number 3 is Pitax, which will be on the second page here. There we are, Pitax, that's the oceanic entry point for Shanwick, so that will be waypoint number 3, north 45 0 0 0, west 0 1 2 0 0 0, insert. Waypoint number 4 is Leslie, north 51 0 0 0, oh no, this is, see, it just, that's how you do it on the proper ILS, but no, I need to clear that, otherwise it won't work properly, I don't think. 51 north, then west, yeah, god damn it. Right, let's do that again. So Lelsu, north, clear, north, 51 0 0 0, don't push insert, even though you meant to, west, 0 0 8 0 0 0, insert. Try not to do that again. Right, Wallasey, I'm only going to program 8 waypoints, but by the time we get to Wallasey, in reality I'll probably switch to conventional navigation. The arrival into Leeds from the west is all based off conventional navigation, which is pretty cool. So Wallasey, 8-point number 5, we'll still put it in anyway. North 53.23.5, 53.23.5, west 0 0 3 0 8 1, insert. Waypoint number 6 is Barton, north 53.28 2, don't press insert, west 0 0 2 2 5 7, insert. Waypoint number 7 is Pole Hill, north 53.44 6, west 0 0 2 0 6 2, insert. And lastly, Leeds Bradford itself, right over the top of the airport. You know, if we get hopelessly lost, I'll at least have something pointing in the right direction, but they do have an NDB there, thankfully. That's going to be, lastly then, north 53.51 9. Oh, no, not insert. West 0 0 1 39 2. Insert. There we are. So all the ILS waypoints are in. For some reason it goes from 1 to 2. You can manually change it from 0 to 1 by pushing waypoint change, but before I do that I just want to make sure the alignment's complete. We've got 3 green lights, so we can go to nav, nav, nav. The ILS is now aligned. You have no alert flags. I don't think it gives you your accuracy. No, it doesn't. But now I need to, for some reason, by default, it sequences from 1 to 2. Louis, you inserted waypoint 3 twice. No, I'm all good, all good. I think you're pulling my leg there. We just need to go here, waypoint change, 0 1. Insert, there we go, and then if I go distance time, that's worked, perfect. You shouldn't need to have to do that. It should sequence from 0 to 1 automatically, but it doesn't do it there. Anyway, the INS is all programmed. What's quite cool is, you know, if you're not confident enough navigating with INS, it does come with this sort of GPS plugin. I'll promise you I won't be using this, but you can actually have a bit of a gross error check because it shows you all the INS waypoints you've programmed. There you go, so you can actually check them if you have any doubts about whether anything has been inserted correctly. But there you go. Excellent. Does the remote feature work, Elliot Smith? I don't know, and I haven't tried it. I've just been using one INS, haven't tried the 2 independent ones. I have no idea if the remote function works or not. I mean, out of curiosity, if I go here, nah, you can see, look, it's copied it all automatically. So I should think, unlike the Felis 747-200, where they're all independently modelled, you know, these two are just copying across the information from this one. I mean, for me, that's fine. It's not the level of immersion you get with some other aircraft, but yeah, it doesn't bother me, to be fair. Perfect. John, has Tolis reached out to you about the A340? Hasn't. No, I have worked with Tolis in the past with their Neo and stuff, but I think Torsten already, you know, he picked some of the the guys. I think Chewy, Captain Canada, and the 320 and V1 got it. But I've been all at work this week. The only time I could have streamed anything was when I streamed the Hawk, which I had a prior arrangement with Just Flight to stream. But I might look into getting it when it's released there, but because it seems a very popular aircraft. I've never flown a 4-engined Airbus before. I mean, this isn't a 4. This is, well, I've flown a few 4-engine aircraft. The Felis 7-4, that's my favourite. Well, actually, the Concorde's a close second, to be fair. Do you prefer Seaver INS or the one that's included in the Concorde Theatre? I prefer the Seaver INS. I think that one's been modelled to be pretty much exactly the same as the Seaver Carousel. This one's a little bit of a change in that. Now, I've just noticed my fuel, 95 tonnes. I changed that. Why has that gone back? Prior to the stream, I set that to 68. It's a good job I spotted that now, because we would have been too heavy by the time we got to Leeds. So aircraft fuel, no, flight preparation, fuel manager. Maybe I didn't press apply. There we are. It's definitely 68 tonnes now. It's a good job I checked that. Number 146 is a kind of sort of 4-engine sort of Airbus, sort of Lorry. I kind of count that, I suppose. Perfect. Aviationpedia, can you please answer my question? In the A380, no. In the A380, the altitude lock feature goes to toggle lock. Can it be overridden by the pilot? Airbus stuff, head over to V1 Simulations and 320 Sim Pilot for those sort of questions. They're certainly not one I can help with. The GPU is now gone. Yeah, probably doing that. Yeah, every time you change the fuel load or anything that causes the aircraft to move, it spits off everything. It's a bit of a pain. So yeah, I have no GPU, no air conditioning. Yeah, well, the aircraft would have gone in reality. But yeah, let's just leave those two attached. We'll actually close everything else now. Imagine everything else is boarded and done. It's a bit of a pain, that one. But there we are. Doors are closed. We have the air starter and the GPU connected. Excellent. So INS is loaded and set to nav. ASI bugs we can set. So it'll take your gross weight into account, and all you need to do is click this and it'll set all your bugs for you. So we have V1 168 knots, VR is about 190, V2 around 210, so that is all set. Pitch index will set to 20 degrees as a sort of maximum pitch attitude, so you can do that by dragging your mouse. Set to 20 degrees. I'll set the vertical speed indicator, preset that to 1,000 feet. I think in reality in Concorde there might have been a rotary knob or gauge where you set that, but in the Colimata Concorde you can just use the gauge, which is pretty helpful there. Pitch index set, clock set to chrono, but I can't do anything. Takeoff briefing stated, start clearance will obtain, doors are closed, master warning test. This is all the stuff I don't want to hear during the stream. Warning lights and sounds galore. Anyway, yeah, lit up like a Christmas tree, and all the warning sounds, we're probably going to hear one of every single one at least once. We'll go there. Peter, can you explain LNAV and VNAV? Not in the space of this length for this live stream could I explain everything about LNAV and VNAV, but in a nutshell, you have a flight management computer, Aviationpedia, which you program, and that's the automation modes which follow the guidance in that flight management computer. That's essentially what LNAV and VNAV is. I love the way the master warning sounds a bit like Pac-Man. Sort of does John Padfield, probably what the inspiration was for the game, who knows. Right, so anti-collision lights. Just before we do that, we'll do a little bit of a briefing. So I just want to talk about the departure, and then we'll get the engine started, because I'm running a little bit later than I was planning on doing so. But I know the majority of you appreciate going over everything, and I know some of you, not the majority, just wants to fly around. But let's talk about how we're going to get out of here. We talked about the weather. Runway 03 left in use, pushback to face south, out via Echo or Juliet, onto the taxiway here. Going to go all the way down to... I'll get rid of that one actually. Did I not bring up the airport chart? Yeah, I did. There we are. All the way down to runway 03 left via full length departure. And our SID is the Bimbo 7 Alpha, which is well, I'd say it's loaded into the FMC. It's not. It's loaded into the INS. The only thing I've loaded into the INS is the last waypoint, Bimbo. But we've got to make sure that we navigate there conventionally. So, what is the Bimbo 7 Alpha? It says initial climb clearance speed to cross Islet at or below 4,000 feet. Low stop altitude. So, at Islet, we need to maintain 4,000 feet. After Islet, we can climb to 120, await further clearance. So, I'm going to level off at 4,000 as per the clearance here. And then what I'll do is sort of do a continuous climb up to flight level 280, which is where I want to level off just prior to our supersonic climb. So how do we know we're passing all these waypoints without a flight management computer? Well, we climb straight ahead on runway heading towards Ecos. Ecos, we know, will be there when we cross the 119 radial at about a distance of 5.2 miles. So we have the DME here, but we also have the RMI. So when the tail of this needle is on 119, we know that we are at Ecos, essentially. We should be at a distance around 5.2 miles. So it isn't actually depicted here, but on my operator's charts you actually get the heading after Islet. That is 019 degrees. So after Ecos, sorry, it's 019 degrees to Islet, and then it's the same heading from Islet to Colon. And again, Colon, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be on the 038 radial. At a distance of 18 miles. So again, we'll be monitoring the RMI, but don't forget I've pre-selected the HSI to that course, 038. So we know that when this crosses that we're there. Now if you see here, it's a left turn heading 319. There's a little number 1 here. As you'll see here, 1, radar assistance will be provided between Colon and Teis by ATC. So because this is a conventional SID, and they didn't really have a way of joining these 2 points up, they said there'll be a radar assisted heading. I think it could be to do with the distance, because you find a lot of, after certain waypoints, maintain a heading and intercept the radial, which is essentially what we're doing. So at Colon, I'm just going to set a heading of 319 degrees, and then we'll intercept the 356 radial from Gran Canaria, which I'll update onto the HSI, and we'll be around Thais. And then once we're wings level outbound, we're going to execute our supersonic climb. We should be at flight level 280 by that point, and that's it, just outbound on that radial all the way to Bimbo. We've got to be at flight level 100 above at that point. I should think we'll be above flight level 500 doing Mach point 1.8. The performance of this aircraft is absolutely crazy. Victor, yes, listening. A Concorde pre-flight while studying thin airfoil theory. My goodness. Hope you're doing well, Mo. Nice to see you popped in as well. Hope you're doing absolutely fine. Excellent. Right, so I think we've covered everything. Where are we here? So, start clearance obtained and takeoff briefing. I've just stated doors will verify they are closed. So you can see the door annunciation light has extinguished. Master warning we tested. And anti-collision light can come on. There's no ATC at the moment. Throttles at the idle stop, and we just need to turn on all of the engine feed pumps. Perfect. So what we do here, ladies and gentlemen, we'd now get our clearance from ATC if it was online, and we'd request engine start 3 and 2 on stand. There's no APU on Concorde, so we have to have a source of electrical power and also a source of bleed air to start the engines as well. So I did notice when I was doing the test sector here yesterday with the version 2 update, this is the same checklist. It's just been modified by Jordan, one of my members here. It does say here, air bleed control close. Don't do that. Leave it open. It's an error in the checklist. Florian in the on the X-Plane forum, someone posted about this saying if I leave it closed I get all the warning lights. He said yeah, it's an error in the checklist, so yeah, make sure you leave the air bleed controls, these switches here, open, otherwise you'll have no pressurized air coming into the aircraft there. Aviationpedia, are there any opportunities for video editors in your channel? No, I work pretty much on my own Aviationpedia, and I will, please, you don't need to be so demanding. But I will be recording more tutorials this Christmas and winter, but there isn't a need for me to have a video editor. But thank you very much for well, suggesting it. I'm guessing you're liking my work. Cool, right, so we'll start engines on stand. You know, we don't need to announce on VATSIM that we're doing that. I know there's some of you here, and we've got the Unicom frequency set. Yeah, there's a second Concorde, absolutely fantastic, and we've got Ryanair, a massive jumbo, and another NAS here as well. Right, so let's get the engine started. Guys, enjoy this. The sounds are epic. So engine start, air bleed controls we want to open, so we'll open all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cross bleed 1, 2, 3 and 4 are open. We'll need to utilise the pressure from engine number 3 to start engine number 2, and then 1 and 4 later on as well. And we're going to start engine number 3 first, so this is quite a quick process. I'll just turn the music off here in the background. So what we do, come down here, engine 3 to start. We wait for an N2 of 12%. Doesn't take long. There's 12%. Insert the fuel and have a listen to this. Sounds like engine number 3 started. We can see the engines are all stabilised around 65%. So let's go back here to the engineers panel. We're having to do Jim's job for him for now. So high fuel pressure switch was on, 67% N2 confirmed. We can remove the air conditioning. So we go down here to the just make sure I'm trim for ground first. Yes, we are. Go to the GUI. Flight preparation. No, sorry, aircraft. Doors and ground. We can remove the air conditioning. We still need the GPU attached for now. Engine 3 condition valve is on. There we go. Blue hydraulic pumps can come on. Shut the guards. Electric generator number 3 can come on. There we are. So we've got some electrical power from the aircraft now. And air bleed control closed. No, ignore that. Leave it open. And it already is. And we can shut down cross bleed engine number 3. We can now repeat the same process to start engine number 2. So down here, starting engine number 2. 12%, and we'll put the fuel in. Let's go outside again. Please lower the volume, not whilst we're outside, Aviation PD. You must be joking. Whilst we're doing all that, I forgot to attach the better pushback, so we're going to be sat here wasting a lot of fuel. Oh, oops, right. Oh, God's galore, I love it. Let's enter.
Ground to cockpit. Plan and knowledge. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
That's going to be a nightmare. We're sat here burning. We're burning with just 2 engines running.
50,
the same amount of fuel the 737
30,
burns in the cruise.
20,
So it's 2.2
10.
tons of fuel per hour. Unbelievable. Swim and climb. Thank you very much for the 20 Canadian dollars. I hope you're doing very well, sir. Appreciate your donation. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Thank you very much indeed. Very, very kind. Stefan, shattering the windows of my heart. Love it. Very, very good. Snapshot, there are very few things that sound as good as Concorde starting up. Agreed, agreed. Excellent. Right, well, whilst we produce a hole in the ozone directly above us, we'll wait until the tug is attached. I found that better pushback. I don't know if they've changed anything here with this update. Oh, I forgot to press connect. I thought I'd actually...
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Excellent, here he comes. Oh, Spanish man, there's a road there, perfectly useful road, but no, he goes there. No, we're currently burning, as I mentioned, the same amount of fuel the 737 does in the cruise, just sat here, 2 engines running on idle. You know, but it's just because I forgot to attach the tug. Nothing to see here. John, the more fuel you burn, the better your landing rated Leeds captain. All part of the plan. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the fact we might be gliding into Leeds if we delayed it much longer. Aviation PD, you look like a Concorde pilot in disguise. Well, thanks. That's the biggest compliment I've ever had during a stream. Rye, what happened to the boost prime countdown? I don't know what that's referring to, Rye. Was that something that was with the Colimata Concorde before? I'm sure.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Anyway, whilst that goes on, I actually need to reconfigure this after the engine start for number 2, so it's too busy getting the better pushback organised. So, engine 3 condition valve on, so in this case engine number 2, and electric generator number 2 can come on. There we go, and we can also put the green hydraulic pumps on. Concerned why that pressure light is still illuminated. What is that? Not so sure. That's that, and the cross bleed valve we can also close.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking
Just
brake.
before I do that, I need to disconnect the ground power, and we can actually start our pushback. So GUI, aircraft, also ground, GPU's disconnected, and we can now release the parking brakes. We'll just tell the guys on Unicom that's the case. There we are. Oh no, I've just forgot the radio tuning panel is not compatible with Concorde. That's an absolute pain in the rear. 121. I forgot what Unicom is. 118, isn't it? There we go. At Gran Canaria, traffic, Alpaca 01, pushing back, stand 20 Tango. Right, parking brakes released.
Starting pushback.
Astro G, redmost hydraulic light on because engine 4 is off. Got you. Thank you very much. 122.8. Oops, thanks. I genuinely forgot what it was. I can hear people now, which is a good sign. At Gran Canaria, ground, Alpaca 01 is pushing back, stand 20 Tango.
Yeah, roger. Sorry,
Perfect. So he heard me. Oh, I might. Exit. Oh, he's gone right behind me. Oh, he's going to be patient. Right, starting engine number 4. I think that's the next one. I don't think it actually matters. Engine 1 and 4. Well, let's do 1 first then. Starting engine number 1, and we're now using crossbleed. I guess from engine number 2 to start engine number 1. 12%. Will be scraping along the ground there. Right, engine number 1. It sounds like it's all started nicely. So again, to do it in the correct order. Engine 3 condition on, so engine number 1. And electric generator engine number 1 on. And crossfeed is closed. I think we're all good. Starting now engine number 4. Oops, trying to find the button so we can actually do it. Right. I think it's getting me back in the right direction. It's very aggressive. Right, oh, I need to get a fuel.
Operation complete, set parking brake.
Thanks, Pablo. Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow, stand by.
Oh dear. Lauren, tug driver showing off his drift racing skills. Not to drink this time like usual. Good to see. He's put his energy somewhere more productive. Brilliant. PK, yes, if you comment at the end of the video, I'll send a link for the checklist. Well, at least we're pointing in the right direction. Unbelievable. The speed of the San Miguel, yeah. Perfect. Wow, looks like all the lights have extinguished up there, which is a good sign. So, up here, condition valve on.
So it's disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. See you next time. Buen vuelo.
Bon volo, okay, take a bon dia. Right, let's do the rest here. Remove air conditioning, we've done. Condition valves done. Electric generator on. There we are, and we can turn on the yellow hydraulics. The man was absolutely right. Starting engine number 4 has extinguished that, and the crossfeed shut. We're all configured. And I also forgot to put the visor down to 5 degrees, which we can do now. Perfect. A few more bits still to do on Jim's panel. So, emergency hydraulic generator to ground bypass. That is that switch. Ground bypass. Electric SSB is closed. Shed galley generator 1, 2, 3 and 4, so they've got some power. The galley water heaters on as well. So before taxi, engine 1, 2, 3 and 4 is running. Nose wheel steering will check shortly. Flight controls check. So we have all the indications for the flight controls here. So here we go. Full back, full forward, full left, and full right. Here comes the rudders. Full right and full left. There we go, that's back to neutral. Engine anti-ice is off. Engine control schedule to flyover. That's flyover. And brake fans on. They are on. Engine idle switch to low. Engine feed pumps all on. Hydraulics are checked. We have, I think it's 4,000 psi. These hydraulic pressure releases. Yeah, 4,000 psi. Electrics are all checked. We've got no warning lights on. Electricity produced to nose 5 degrees. Trim is set for takeoff now. And I don't actually know what the reference is here. It's default to 0. I've been doing about -2 because I found the nose wants to come up all the time, but there's no table or anything with regards to how to get that set here included there. Right, so taxi clearance obtain, and we'll just advise that we're taxiing them. We'll continue with the checklist. So put the taxi lights on. Alpaca 01 taxi holding point 03 left. Perfect. So parking brake released, and we're on our way, guys. Always starts digging when you start moving. I'm not sure why, but we're going now. Aviation Peter, see my message. Do you have rudder pedals in your setup? Yes, using rudder pedals. I see you're very excited to be here, Aviation Peter, and I love the enthusiasm. I promise you when I'm in the cruise, I'll have much more time to answer any queries or questions. Certainly during the first phase of the stream where I'm setting up departing, it's quite work intensive. Got to get a lot of stuff done to ensure that we get on our way safely. And that reminds me, I'll turn that off there, so I don't want to be going 3, 2, 1 now and then 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 from your generosity, but I'll turn that back on later. Right, anyway, as I mentioned earlier in the briefing, we're going to taxi out here, Romeo 10, just making that slight dink. We'll make a left turn onto Juliet and then to the taxiway that way. Cool, so here's a little bit more stuff we have to do prior to departure, which I've actually done this prior to taxiing, but taxi clearance obtained, lights are on, engine rating mode, takeoff set, so that is up here, I think, engine rating mode, yeah, that's set to takeoff.
And speedbird 6 taxiing to runway 03 left.
Auto throttle we shall turn on. Oh no, that's the throttle master, let's just make sure I'm taxiing in the right direction. So auto ignition on first, there we go, then auto throttle switches are on. Oh, engine rating mode takeoff, yeah, that's the first one we did. Engine flight rating is set to climb. Pressure static heaters can come on, and the ADS engine probe heaters are already on. That's looking good. Let's just get back on the taxiway here. Not to mention, taxi Concorde, don't forget your nose wheels are a few feet behind you, so you have to overshoot the taxi line quite a bit there. Engine 4 N1 takeoff limiter is 88%, so it limits the thrust on engine number 1 during takeoff. You'll see it on the gauges. Can't remember the exact reason. I think I say that every single live stream, but it's to do with some, is it engine failures or something? I can't remember. Can't remember there. D-air tank 678, 7A10 and 5A on, so there's only a couple of switches we need to configure to get those in the right position. That's that one and that one. All the rest are already in the right position. Those pumps are on already. There we are. I've overshot probably a little bit too much there.
Charlie Papa 01, I guess you will be number 1, Condor 3762, coming from right to left.
Oh, I guess I am.
Correction, left.
I'm just gonna... he's giving it for me, I think. Thank you. I'm not sure if I was meant to exit that way, because there actually isn't a taxi line taking me to the right there. Right, anyway. I appreciate that, I guess. Thank you. Sean, thanks for the $5. 0.3 seconds of fuel burn or 4 packs of schmackos for Jack. about accurate there for Concorde. Thank you very much, Sean Hall, for the $5. Very kind indeed. Appreciate it. Right, just the inlet valves I need to check now. Oh, where were they? Oh no, I can't remember where they were. Ah, there they are. Oh no, that's... I think that's it. No, I think they should be left. It does say inlet valve. I think they might already be in auto. No, I even made a note of it. They are already in the auto position. Don't need to change it. Where were those switches before? Were they shut? Oh no. Hopefully Jim will sort that out. Could have caused a lot of problems there. Excellent. So, here we are, coming up to our turn. Yes, I remember now, because I spent ages trying to find the inlet valves, and I then found that in that case you don't actually need to do anything there. Right, so, before takeoff, I'm just going to stop here the whole point for literally 10 seconds. Is there anyone in the queue here? Oh, there is a bit of a queue. Well, we're pretty much ready, guys. I know what we need to do, and I don't want to hold everyone up. So, we'll carry on, and we'll line up. I'm going to make sure we're actually right, but I haven't heard anyone on the network. Alpaca 01 taking off 03 left. So we'll just have a little 20-second break on the runway. So before takeoff data is complete, transponder we just need to set. So there's no one on ATC here. I'm going to go down here and just put it to 2000 and altitude reporting's on. So when you're lining up in Concorde, don't forget, as I mentioned a second ago, your nose wheel's considerably aft of your position here. So you know it looks like I've forgot to turn here, but you want to get all the way over here to the edge of the runway and then go full left on your tiller, and you should end up, braked a little bit too much there, end up on the centre line. FO windows open. Aussie Aircraft, you saved me! How on earth did I manage that? Oh, FO Aussie Aircraft 98, first officer of the year. Thank you so much. Jim would never have said anything. Oh my god, how did I do that? Right, transponder set, takeoff clearance obtained, landing lights as required. I'm only going to use the taxi lights here. So I'm going to set the parking brake just here for the second. Takeoff monitor is on, reheat switches are set. They're already on, I think, by default. Yes, they are. Guys, are you ready? We are about to blast off. We'll make a note of the time. So that is 12:02 Zulu in sim in game. And let's now go to Leeds Bradford. So if I let go of the parking brake, it should do it. I can't set the timer or the clock or anything, unfortunately, but let's do it.
3, 2, 1, now.
Full power. Let's hold on outside for a second. That's what we wanted to see. Got to get back in there. Right. 80 knots checked.
100 knots.
Check.
Power set.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
Okay, some light back pressure coming onto the control column, but not too much. A little bit fast on that rotation. Anyway, we are airborne.
Positive climb.
Gears coming up.
Gear coming up.
And just getting to 250 knots. And I'm already going to go 3, 2, 1 noise because we're going to bust through 4,000 at 250 knots otherwise. There we are.
Gear up. Tools on.
Taking a little bit of thrust off there as well. Don't need to take too much. Just from the Carnacy climb, I remember them seeing the guys doing that. As soon as they made that turn, they took the reheats off and took a chunk of thrust off as well. And we're just going to roll out onto that heading towards that initial point of Ecos. Remember, we're looking for that 119 radial. Tail of that needle will show you that point at 5.2 DME. Got 2 to go, so I'm going to utilise some automation here in preparation for the level off. So water throttle, IS acquire, flight directors on, autopilot on, out acquire, and 4,000 feet is set. Why is the speed dropping off so quickly? Why is it doing that? I have no idea. There we go, back to 250.
Traffic 11762, takeoff, runway 0 left.
Track heading.
Climbing 4,000 feet via bus.
And vertical speeds. There we are, so approaching 250. And remember, we're waiting for 119 radial, so a tail of that needle to reach 119, which is about to do. Should be just about there, and we should be at a distance of 5.2 miles. So we'll see how close we are to Takeoff. That's checked, we're going to level off at 4,000 feet for a second. So I'm going to lower the visor to, raise the visor to 0 degrees. Timer, yeah, can't do it, Henrik, unfortunately. Let's have a look how we're doing. So we should be at Ecos now. There we are, Ecos. So now it's a heading of... Let's come up on the right chart. It's still on 019 degrees now, so make a left turn. And we're waiting for a distance of 8.1 miles on the 065 radial. So we're looking for the tail of that needle to be on the 065 that we know we're at Islet. Approaching 4,000 feet, now cleared altitude. Oh, flyby, yes sir. Altitude it has to maintain. Amazing. There we are, levelling off at 4,000. Just waiting for that radial 065. Check where we are, and as soon as we pass Islet, we'll climb up to our initial cruise level of 280. So 065 radial's coming up. Distance of 8.1. Ah, yeah, the angle attack is crazy, I know. There we are, we should be pretty much at Islet at 8.1 miles, so about a mile to go. There you go. So again, still on a heading of 019, we just need to now wait for the 038 radial, at a distance of 18 miles as well. But now we've passed that restriction of 4,000 feet at Islet, we've got, we'll continue climb to flight level 280. So let's set that up here. 280 set, outer choir, and I'm actually going to use the indicated airspeed hold, disconnect the auto throttle and add climb thrust myself. And the aircraft should now pitch up to maintain 250 knots. Look how quickly it accelerates. The autopilot can't react quick enough to the increase in thrust. So I'm just going to take a little bit of thrust off just to give me a reasonable rate of climb at 250. Now I can start adding a bit more thrust. We'll set standards.
Wrong fuel trim.
Oh gosh.
Should I change it?
Thanks, Jim.
Fuel trim to flight.
I don't know if we ever did it for takeoff. I'm not sure. I think I did it on stand. It'd be good if it was on the checklist to remind you to do it. But anyway, we are now climbing. We should be doing 250 knots. That's when I pushed indicated airspeed hold, but it just seems to be struggling to maintain that speed of 250. Well, imagine we got free speed from ATC. It won't pitch up. I don't know if it might be a pitch limit or because I've got the pitch limit set to 20 degrees, but it's not even doing that. It's just not. It's not maintaining 250, and that's when I pushed indicated airspeed hold. I'd love to know if that's something I've done, but it doesn't seem to be happy with that. We're doing 300 knots, and I engaged IS hold at 250. I swear that worked previously. Anyway, what we'll do then, we're going to go... Let's go vertical speed. I'll set something like 4,000 feet per minute. I'm going to turn the auto throttle on, get that to fly 350 knots now. Imagine we've got free speed from ATC. We should be coming up to Colon now as well. Let's go for 4,000 feet per minute. That's armed already. So Colon, range of 18 miles, we've got 17.5. That was good timing. There we are, there's Colon. So let's go on that heading of 319. Get the visor up as well now. Why are you not going up? Yeah, I swear on previous versions I could just press IS hold and it would hold the speed perfectly. I don't know if something's changed. Oh, that's better. Anyway, 4,000 feet per minute, climbing nicely. We can now set standard 1013. Better do the after takeoff checklist, really. It's going so, everything up so quickly at Concorde. Right, let's get the navigation set up more importantly. So 356 out of AV8. Let's prioritise our tasks here.
350 knots.
That's good. 356, 4,000 feet per minute. That's fine. And we'll just keep an eye on it. We're now heading in that direction. You can see it's not exactly on the line, but that was a radar heading provided by ATC. We're just waiting to intercept the 356 radial outbound, which won't take long until we intercept that. We'll just keep an eye on the HSI. We better actually do some after takeoff and pre-cruise checks there. So after takeoff, climb rates checked, landing gears up, engines check. We turn off the takeoff monitor. Brake fans can come off. This is just stuff I picked up from other streamers. Maverick 104 I can highly recommend. He's an expert on this aircraft. Flyover, that goes to normal, that goes to auto. Fuel trim to flight, external lights are off. Nose and visors up. Noise abatement we've done. Reheats are off. And then climb right. Climb rate's all the same stuff I'm used to. Before we go supersonic. So 350 knots, I think we can increase our rate of climb even a little bit more now because the auto throttle isn't quite at full power. Amazing. What do you think, guys? We'll be going supersonic in about 3 or 4 minutes when we get to 280. I'll talk you through that sequence as well. It's nice and quiet now. I'm going to be outside. Mach 0.75.
20,000 feet.
Thanks, Jim. Here comes the radial. So you can see the HSI coming in. I have to intercept that 356 radial so we can arm Vorlock. Richard, hi Captain, just a heads up, that link to previous sectors doesn't appear to be working, for me at least. I've got a 404 error saying, oh, not available on this server. Tried the link on a few videos. What link's that, Richard Daniels? Which one are you referring to there? Thank you very much, Bornidgrum. I think that's how that's pronounced. So approaching flight level 280, we can reduce our rate of climb to 4,000 feet. 4 to go. And as soon as we're established on that radial, which the aircraft's doing now, wings level, we can go into our supersonic line. Henry, what do you think of the Colimata default receiver? It's usable. It works, but I think there's some features missing. I'm guessing it's the same as the carousel receiver that you get as the plug-in. I've looked at pictures and it looks all identical to the one in the Fly Jason, but you can see it works. I've programmed it, and we've got 18 minutes to the first waypoint at Bimbo, 163 miles to go, and we're just going to update it to waypoint change shortly. I want to accelerate to 0.95. Approaching 1 to go, so we'll just set that rate of climb to about 1,000 feet per minute. And we'll go down here and switch to INS navigation now, so I'm going to go back to waypoint change 0, 1. And that should have done it. The best way to do that is to match our heading here.
Welcome.
And go to track heading. Let's go to INS. That's a good sign. It's already lined up on the HSI. Go to INS and engage INS. So now we're using the INS to navigate. Otherwise, making a steep right turn. We're already established on it. And we're approaching here flight level 280. So, the longer we stay at subsonic flights, this is the most efficient phase or regime for subsonic flight in Concorde. It's about 350 knots. Flight level 280, but the thing is, we're not designed to fly at that speed at this height. If we were to stay here the whole time, you know, we'd run out of fuel by the time we get to Leeds. We need to go supersonic, okay? And let's talk through that process now. So it's going to happen very quickly, as we're already doing just under the speed of sound at Mach 9. But we're going to disconnect the auto throttle, apply full dry power, and engage max climb. The aircraft's then going to start pitching up, and whilst it does that, we need to put the reheats on in pairs. We'll do the outer two first and then the inner two. By the time all that's done, we'll be doing Mach 1, and because we're lighter than we usually are, about 35 tons lighter, a lot less fuel than we would on a Heathrow JFK, it'll climb very, very quickly. So then guys, if you're all ready, we'll go into our supersonic climb up to flight level 600. So preset that to 600. Make sure our hold is already engaged, which it is. Now going to make sure the throttle levers are matched up, which they are. Disconnect the auto throttle.
Auto throttle off.
There you go. There it goes. It's just setting full climb power. There we are. We're now going to put the reheats up in pairs. So outer first. Waiting for the 2 white lights.
Minimums.
Holding that full power set. Then the inner 2. Going to go for max climb.
Fuel status 60 tons.
And it does.
Overspeed
There's
warning.
nothing you can do
Throttle
about
back
that.
will climb.
There's nothing you can do about that as the speed changes. It's just the way it's always done. And there we are. We're doing Mach 1 already.
Pass.
Oh, crikey. There we are. And here comes our sonic boom. And there we are. So again, every test sector I've always done, and every stream previously, you get this little MMO exceedance just as it goes below the clacker, and then it sorts itself out, so that's fine. So I'll engage out to quiet because we'll probably reach that height. I'm not sure what Concorde did when it actually got to 60,000 feet. I guess it levelled off and they took a bit of thrust off. And we're climbing very quickly. As we accelerate, the drag increases until we get to about, I think it's 1.5, and then actually drag decreases once we get above that speed. I guess the shape of the shock barrier decreases drag at higher speeds. But yeah, there we go. Right now, the engines are burning. How much fuel per hour have we got here? 14.4 tons of fuel per hour per engine. That is just shy of 60 tons an hour. That's the current fuel burn. I mean, if we left the engines as well, we'd be out of fuel in 58 minutes. It's a ton of fuel a minute we're burning, guys. Counted it was the flight time since we got airborne at 12:02, airborne for 12 minutes. It will be another hour and 40 minutes. We should be on the approach into Leeds Bradford. There we are. Thank you very much. You're 12 months as a member, James Muggs. Just seen that now. What a great year it's been. Thank you for the great streams. Fantastic community keeping it entertained.
Mach 1.3.
As I sit crazily.
Smoothing confirmed.
My brand new baby girl. Oh, James, that's amazing. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your membership for 12 months. So glad to hear you got your little baby girl there. I don't know if the Olympus Rolls-Royce engines are going to probably help us sleep much, especially on the external flyby views, but I appreciate your time as a member here anyway. Thank you very much, and I hope your little baby girl continues to sleep. Excellent. Colorado, a ton per minute is disgusting. Wouldn't want to be paying. No, me neither. Absolutely absurd, isn't it? There we go. Great Suffolk, guys. To avoid MMO, I press max climb first, then go for full dry power. You start to climb and then apply reheat. That works pretty well. You get that red flashing light for less than 5 seconds. Ah, cool. Thanks, Great Suffolk, guys. I'll try that next time. I think another thing, as I mentioned,
40,000 feet.
because we're so much lighter today, with regards to what I usually am, I guess when these aircraft, the Concorde, British Airways used to do these sort of day trips in Concorde, so you take off from Leeds as an example, or somewhere else in the UK, you go out to the North Sea, go supersonic, and then come back. So I guess the way they did that was perhaps a little bit different to the sequence we're doing things. I think this is good to get you up to your cruise level straight away. I wouldn't want to be on that little island there, have a bit of a headache, or your windows will smash, but the routing I patched today kept us well clear of land and allowed us to stay as supersonic as long as possible. I'll just get you up the Navigraph charts there. So we do have La Palma.
I suggest reheat off.
Thanks, Jim. Sorry. Reheats off. We'll slow our rate of climb down. Help me out here, guys. Fun chow, yeah, that's it. Thanks, VR. Don't fly there myself. But yeah, we're going right over the North Atlantic, staying well clear of Portugal and Spain, and then when we get to Leslu, we'll talk about descent later, obviously, we'll initiate our descent, and then by the time we're going subsonic, we'll be about here. So some people in Waterford might have their glass houses smashed, but who cares? Madeira, thanks, guys. Nidsley, ramps moving in the inlet of the engine. Is that decelerating the air? You're precisely right, and it's quite cool. You can actually see, if we go here to the GUI, their aircraft engines, you can actually see them moving in a ramp is at a 14-degree position, and as the aircraft continues to accelerate, we've passed that increased point of parasitic drag now. The drag actually decreases when you get faster, so the aircraft accelerates and re-accelerates a little bit quicker. But you can see, look, they're closing, and that is to slow that supersonic air to a subsonic speed so the engine can ingest it. The engine, no jet engine is able to take in air at high speed, which just causes the engine to surge. So that's what these ramps do. It slows that air down to a subsonic speed so the engines work as efficiently as possible. And that is completely automated. The engineer doesn't even control that himself. It's a computer. Don't forget, this aircraft was conceived, you know, at a time where computers at home didn't exist, or if they did have a computer, or a business or a corporation had a computer, it was the size of an entire office space. It just shows you that the technology that had to be produced to make this aircraft, it was groundbreaking so many ways. You know, FADEC, fly-by-wire thrust levers, carbon brakes. I mean, I'm just naming just a few of the many features this aircraft has. But there we are, we're almost at Mach 2. And how long have we been airborne for? 18 minutes since we set takeoff power. We're already doing a ground speed of around 1100 knots. Unbelievable.
50,000 feet.
Thank you, Jim. And it will Mach 2 will get max cruise engage automatically. Amazing. Dave, my mum went on one of those day trips with her mum for the latter's 90th birthday. My dad and I were relegated to watching from the roof of one of the Heathrow terminals. Ow, that's outrageous, Dave. How did you get... how did that happen? Surely it should be the other way round. Joking, of course. Oh, man. That was still an amazing experience. Anyway, passing Mach 2. Max cruise now engaged. And let's continue on our way to Leeds Bradford. We should be there in about an hour and a half. An hour and 30 minutes, guys. And we're not even... you know, still south of Spain and Portugal. Unbelievable. Right. Anyway, here's a little bit of a thing I've noticed with the INS. Just going to bring up Navigraph here. You'll notice it's started turning to the next waypoint. But what it seems to do, it does it quite early. And I think it's sort of trying to anticipate cutting the corner. But I've noticed it makes several changes. It actually turns right, left. And what it generally does is it turns in the opposite direction initially. I think it's just the way it's programmed to work with the Colimata, but it does get you from A to B, but it just sort of cuts the corner slightly. You can see it's already sequenced the next waypoint in the INS, and you can see that the distance is there, time 18 minutes to just travel 350 miles, but it just sort of cuts it and then re-intercepts it. Fred, what's your cruise? We're flying a block level between sort of 50-60,000 feet. It's sort of this cruise climb regime that Concorde flew. Didn't really maintain a fixed level. Ah, look, the engines are now. We're only burning a mere 24 tons per hour now. Not 60, you know, just sipping. Fencing crew 0002 for the £2.
Hello, Captain.
Hello.
Hope all is well. Long time since we last spoke.
Yes.
Enjoy your supersonic flight, and make sure you brace for landing. Smile.
Crew 0002, thank you very much for the £2. I know you're a big fan of the Concorde, and oh, it's a shame you couldn't join in today, but no, we haven't spoken for a while. I hope you're doing well, and yeah, I mean, you always feel free to DM me at any point there. Did you message me on Facebook, perhaps? Social media, Cree, I always prioritise the Discord messages first. I always come to those first. It's probably lost amongst all the other messages there, but so I'll try and get back to you. I think I did see you post today or yesterday, but thank you for your continued support. Snapshot: when my fiancée was growing up in West Carrion Island, she says she can remember hearing the sonic boom from Concorde as it accelerated out over the Atlantic. That's amazing. There we are. So just to kind of show you, look, if you look here, it's a bit messy. It's sort of what the aircraft's done. It cut the corner, and now it went kind of straight, and then it's overshot the point. It's working, but it's sort of, and it will oscillate. You'll get multiple turns. So you can see, look, it's overshot that INS radial, so it's going to carry on going right, then left, then right, and it does sort of, you know, stop oscillating after a while. But yeah, I think the Seaver INS plugin was a little bit more accurate, but hey, I wouldn't even know how to program a simple game like what was that game in the 80s everyone used to play with the ball and the table and used to Pong. I couldn't even design that, so my goodness, someone's actually made a Concorde, so I'm never that critical when it comes to things like that. Tom C, what do you think about the Feeless 747? Fantastic add-on, one of my favourites as well, and I've had great fun. We've done 3 streams in that aircraft, and I'd like to do another one at some point in the not too distant future. X3 Enter, does VATSIM allow Concorde across the pond? I think they do. I've certainly taken part across the pond in the past and seen Concordes there. Yeah, I won't make this one, unfortunately. I'm working next weekend. I'm flying. It'll be a great shame because I did the last 3 across the ponds, but unfortunately not this time around. Beer pong. No, sure. There we are. So you can already see with the contrails the sort of oscillations. Look at that. That's Mach 2 fly past. It just gives you an impression of the speed you're flying. Manny, is the CG control done automatically on this Concorde, or is there an option to manually do it? You can, with this update, the V2 version, Manny 32V, if you so wish, manipulate the field controller trim. From what I understand, I don't have the capacity, and I don't know how people have the capacity to do that. Maybe if I wasn't streaming, you know, and you wouldn't see my mistakes. I was thinking about doing it, but I looked at the manuals and it's hella complicated. so yeah, Jim's, you can see he's put the trim precisely where it needs to be, and he's ensuring that the fuel's being moved around to keep us in trim at all times. Yeah, starting to get to the bank angle check territory. Yeah, you can see it does a few little twisty turns, but it gets you there. Anyway, Madeira is off on our left. I've given it a good, quite a good distance away though. I think now you can just see it. Look, there we are. There is Madeira. We're just about far away. Now we're sort of rolling either side of 30 degrees. Henry, hi. Using the Orbex True FGB and Leeds Bradford scenery, do you still have to use Ortho 4XP for the area? I do. I have all of the Orbex. I have a partnership with Orbex, so they very kindly send me their products over, and I do have all of the Orbex True Earth and Leeds scenery installed. And no, you don't need Ortho 4XP. The True Earth scenery replaces Ortho 4XP. But I have to admit, the Concorde, you'd think would be quite an FPS-intensive aircraft. Look at the shadows on the nose there. That's wicked. But no, what's the FPS right now? About 50, and even with Orbex True Earth, I'm getting decent performance with clouds, the enhanced skyscape clouds, at 35 FPS while streaming, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Jamal, my champagne is going sideways, love it. Anyway, that gives you an impression of our speed. If we were to not descend or slow down, if we were to maintain Mach 2 the whole time, we'd be flying past Leeds Bradford in 1 hour and 13 minutes. If we'd kept the speed. That ETA is just kind of like an instantaneous what is your ground speed as the crow flies right now. That's the time you get there. Paul, thanks for that. There is a new update out for enhanced skyscapes. I will make a note of that because I want to download that after this stream, because I still have the default version. Well, the default version, the first version. Pilot to Sim, what GPU are you running? We have a 1080p NVIDIA. It's an old one, but it still works fine. I am updating my entire rig this Christmas. Massive Nerd Productions. When my granddad was younger, he'd stand at the end of the runway at Fairford whilst Concorde was being tested. As expected, Takeoff threw him up quite some mark. God bless him. Very cool, Massive Nerd. Thanks, Geordie. Have a safe flight. It's slightly unnerving. Yeah, Snapshot. Actually, Snapshot, have you ever beaten Supersonic in any aircraft that I know what you flew, but I don't know if you had the chance before. I wouldn't want to be flying at 30 degrees angle of bank at that speed.
Minimums, approaching minimums.
Lauren, thanks for your 5 months as a member. Seems we can finally begin the service. It's like my stomach and... what? Shh. I'm not going to say that. Is that French? Something about a plane. No, please. Thank you, Lauren, for your 5 months as a member. Really much appreciate that. And your Scotch, and I hope your Scotch and your shorten plate doesn't get broken. Thank you. Oh dear, oh dear. Astrid, good luck getting a GPU. Yeah, now, as I'm getting... I want to build a custom PC, however, you know, I have a Chill Blast PC. I'm no way affiliated with them at all, but it has been really good. I've had it 4 years, nearly 4 years, and I've never had any serious problems with it, just the normal computer problems as well. So I know these companies charge over what it would cost to build your own one yourself, but there's a few things these companies offer. One, I think you can get a custom built PC with these graphics cards, which are almost impossible to get individually. Secondly, they often offer 5 years warranty, so I'm sort of, I'm happy to pay a little bit extra to ensure that, because this Chill Blast I had the 2 years warranty. I didn't have to use it, so I quite like to have that. Snapshot, fortunately, never have been above 0.95, been up to flight level 550. That's pretty good. Oh, is it, Laura? Don't ask. You're far more cultured than I am. Pearl. No, let me get this right. Is it Pearl UK? Did I get that wrong? It's Pier. No, it's Pearl UK. Sorry. Is the upgrade worth it so far? For me personally, is the 5 justified? I think it is, because the fact that this now works and you can actually program it and use it means you don't have to have that plugin, which means no more stuttering, and that in itself is a huge improvement. The flight model and the handling has changed. Now, personally, for me, I have no experience with this aircraft whatsoever. I've noticed the update. Since the update, the handling is sort of similar to the FlyJSim 737-200. It's going to be a bit laggy sometimes. Again, I found that the speeds that are recommended to be flown, by the way, don't use the speeds here. I thought that the update would have fixed that, but the speeds that you find there, the Rev 207, that's not updated at all. But someone said, based off my weight today, obviously too heavy to land, but our landing will be around 105 tons. It said fly a VREV 160, fly 170. I found flying at that.
50.
I'm about to stall, and the landing attitude means that the tail rams into the ground first, so I'm actually going to fly this at 180 knots today. Tim, thanks for the £2.
Charcuterie if you want it phonetically. Smiley face.
Thanks, Tim. Charcuterie, I don't think that's how it's pronounced. I've never heard of that. Oh dear, not cultured enough. Thank you very much, Tim. And I guess Lauren, for bringing that word into my dictionary. Oh my goodness, thank you. Excellent. Massively, I definitely recommend buying a pre-built PC. Got my 3060 GPU in one. No single cards are in stock. Yeah, I think that's the only way to get one, is essentially to have one in a built PC. But if a lot of people have a current rig, that's just not an option. I guess timing for me has worked out quite nicely, because I did say that I'd get a new rig at the sort of end of this year. I mean, this one is been really good to me, really has, and like I said, I bought it from the Flight Sim Expo, UK Flight Sim Expo in 2017, I think it was. I'm trying to get it right now. Was it that or 18? No, it must have been 17. And it's been really, no problems with it. And I don't know what the best card was at the time when I bought that, maybe a 2080, I think. But it's been really good. Yes, this is the V2 version, Steve. Blue Bear, I live on base lake for runway 14 at Leeds, and it's looking really overcast and breezy. Good luck. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the update. Yeah, runway 14 being used today for sure. Let's have a look at the latest METAR for Leeds. Okay, at the moment not bad. 190 at 12, scattered 1500, 12 degrees. However, it is forecast for a tempo between now and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, well, that's already gone then. It's 24 today, isn't it? We might have some showers of rain, strong winds. Commander Jed Hofen, if it's any consolation, Captain, I also didn't know what a sharpshooter rate was. Sounds French and pretentious. Precisely, Commander Jed Hofen, thank you. Amy, are we there yet? Supersonic. Oh yes, we're sorry guys, for anyone that's just tuned in, we are flying a Mach 2 in this cruise climb phase. The aircraft will just oscillate to maintain that thrust setting. I think the real Concorde will also take into account the maximum temperature on the nose, which is 128. Currently, because we're going so fast, the temperature of the skin 127, because the maximum is 123 degrees TAT. It's going to go so fast. Does it deserve it? Are you happy with it? Yeah, the V2 update, I mean, with the INS, Steve, and the fact that we don't have the stutters, that's great. But no, guys, I'll send a link now. This wasn't really a full review video. I love the Colimata Concorde, but if you want to find a bit more about what's included with the update, I'll share the link. As I mentioned earlier, the handling does feel a bit different. It feels a bit sluggish and slow compared to the previous version. But yeah, I found that 180 knots. I flew this approach multiple times in preparation for this stream yesterday, and every single one of them I tried different speeds, different approaches. I landed, I think it was 20 times, and all of them were wasted or hard landing. I had one adequate, does it say adequate on that landing calculator? But I went off the end of the runway. So you just can't. If you attempt to even for 1 second get for a smooth landing, you're halfway down the runway and you're off the end here. So I guarantee you it'll be minimum hard landing, minimum. Monkey Wings, you'd like the sonic boom. Yeah, this is just again to give an impression of what Mach 2 looks like. There's the sonic boom. That's the incredible speed we're flying there. You paid $1,000 for a 3080 from a kid back then. Wow. Chrismov, the 737-200 for explain weather. Yeah, I like the FlyJSim 737-200. I think it needs an update. I don't think the devs have touched it for a while now, but the flight controls are a bit lethargic. So if you make an input, the movement of the aileron, elevator, and rudder is quite slow in response. It just needs to be sped up again. Mark and Monkey Wings want to fly by again in a bit. Jibs, is it normal for devs to charge a fee for update? Pretty strange concept. Not many do, Jibs, but I don't know much about the team behind Colimata. I don't have any relationship with them like I do with some other devs. But I think it's quite a small team, and I think the dev has been working very, very hard, continually very hard to get that update. I mean, no one obviously wants to pay anything once you bought a product for an update, but one upgrade. But for me, as I mentioned. I mentioned it twice in the last 5 minutes. The INS functionality, again, it just needs a bit of improving. It's good enough, but you know, we set very high standards here at Flight Sim. Does this aircraft replicate the Concorde experience? Absolutely. You know, I think it shows it all. Yeah, there you go, Peter. Colimata is one guy. Well, there you go. I think it's one guy who works pretty hard. You know, if that's the case, it's going to charge a fiver. You know, I'm happy to pay that. Oh, we're still talking about this cured meat word. It's why not flying to Tony 340 when it comes out. As I mentioned, I didn't speak to Torsten regarding getting a copy. It is a nice airplane, Peter. You've got it. Also, guys, so on the stream here now, 36 minutes. We're about halfway through the stream. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to have a quick no, 5-minute break. When we get back, we'll talk about the approach to Leeds. I've got a really cool video. In fact, it's a little bit more of the video I showed you at the start. We can actually see an Air France. We'll actually going to watch together, guys, the first time Concorde visited Leeds Bradford, and it's actually quite nice to show because it shows how a real Concorde pilot has to land here to actually get it down safely. We're very similar to what you'll see today. But guys, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. As ever, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Yes, I'll do a sonic boom for your monkey wings, and then I'll put you in my external flyby view, so you can, or rotational view, if you really enjoy the series. Guys, I'll be back in about 5 minutes or so. Thank you. Fix that, guys. Nice little break there. Where are we, you might be asking? Well, we've been airborne now for 43 minutes since we left Gran Canaria. And we are now just west of Lisbon. Look at that, 43 minutes west of Lisbon. Usually in the 737 we'd be an hour and a half into the flight. Or, you know, before we got to this point here, or not even that. Routing towards this waypoint here, Pitax. Pitax is the third INS waypoint programmed. Just to give you a sense of scale, that the entire length of Portugal, which is pretty much the distance we have towards Pitax there, we can travel that distance in 21 minutes. It's got 20 minutes to travel the length of Portugal there. Pretty impressive there. That's the distance to the next waypoint. But anyway, what I thought I'd share with you is, you know, the video, for those of you here at the start, I thought we'd actually watch a bit more of that together, because it's really, really cool to show you sort of, you know, that this is the video where Concorde, and Air France Concorde, it was the first ever Concorde to land at Leeds Bradford. It did several times after that with these sort of day trips and flights there. But we'll show you, you know, how the guys, one of the guys landed the Concorde there. The only time I've seen a harder landing was the BAE 146 into London City. I think a lot of you here would have seen that video where that aircraft landed. I'm quite surprised the gear didn't end up through the bottom of the aircraft, but no, this video I'm about to show you, you know, I'm quite surprised the gear stayed in one piece. It was a heck of a landing. Before we do that, let's look at some of the comments there. Manny, talking about sonic booms, imagine if you're sitting in the perfect scent of two Concordes flying supersonic from different directions, getting hit with a sonic boom, both for once, so two sonic booms at once, you know, would be quite a shake there. F1, yes, I was going to stream a little bit later, but I also wish to watch the Formula 1 this evening. Going to be interested coming up to Corner 1 in Austin again. Oh, it's getting super time. We'll see what happens there. Amazing. Cool. Anyway, let's. I'll find that video again, and we'll look at it together. Well, that's quite cool. When you type in Concorde Leeds Bradford, I'm the second hit, but the one I'm looking for is the first hit there. Anyway, this is the video I was wanted to show you earlier, so let me just bring that up here. Turn down X-Plane 11 as well slightly so we can watch this. So this video from the YouTube channel Arrow Archives, which I could play picture in display here. Trying to be a professional streamer. I've only ever done this once before. Where's my Chrome overlay? This is a video of Concorde landing at Leeds Bradford for the first ever time. Have a little look at this. I'm not going to watch the entire video. It just gives you an impression. I think this is a missed approach. The first ever approach to Concorde had to go around, but they had a really strong crosswind as well on the day there. Sadok, why is the VS so low? So we're in a cruise climb at the moment, so the vertical speed sort of oscillates slightly, just to keep you in this sort of phase in the cruise here, but generally it continuously climbs. Yeah, when was it? When was this filmed? 1986, I think. I'll play it forward a little bit actually. I think it's the entire approach otherwise. You can see, look. Typical Leeds. Look at the crosswind here. Forza Ferrari, Dorian. Very good. Edo, I saw your message. I need to get back to you about that. Is this faster than Miata? Not quite. So I'll turn this down so you can actually hear what it sounds like for a Concorde to go around with full missed approach power, because I think they went around off the first approach here. Watch this. And he's got his reheat on as well. Yeah, I'll have another go. Ah, the time when TVs were squares. Absolutely. And look at the racket and the yellow pollution. Apparently there were 70,000 people here to watch this when Concorde first went to Leeds. 70,000 people turned up around the airport. So that was their missed approach, and then they came around for a second one. This is the landing. Have a look at this. This is what I'll be doing today. So if anyone is critical of me in the comments section or afterwards, I'll just link them to this part of the stream. Go, there you go. It's a real Concorde pilot. Watch this. Now that's a landing. he's arrived. That is an absolute fun for that. I don't know what, I think his rate must have been about 700, 600 feet per minute, but just credit to the designers, how an aircraft could be built to withstand, I wouldn't say that's much, but that's how hard an aircraft can land. Even, commercial airlines there, 73, 74, can land as hard as that, and it's fine. It probably needs to be inspected or something, but yeah, have a look at that again. That was just absolutely hammered down. Definitely a rip. I mean, he didn't even flare. He just landed. He just arrived. He just went, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be exactly the same today. If not, I'm off the end. I think that's on 3-2 though, not 1-4. Yeah, he wasn't messing around. Now that's your champagne everywhere. Or your whatever that plate was called. The meats were splattered on the windows. There you go. So there you go. That's my excuse for landing today. But then, yeah, I think it just gives you an impression of how windy it is in Leeds all the time. Look, here's the typical 80s dressed people. Look how that's typical Leeds. They're all about to blow over the edge there. So cool. But this was the inspiration for this stream. I watched this video months ago and I thought, I've got to replicate that at some point. And yeah, what's also quite befitting for today, I was looking for a day to stream this, and always try and do weekends. Always a few more of you get the opportunity. Let me just turn this off here. There's always an opportunity at the weekend for more people to watching, but there's something quite special about this weekend and Concorde. Anyone in chat know what it is? 24th of October. What's that to do with Concorde? See if anyone knows. As long as the passengers are happy walking down the stairs, it's a good landing. Absolutely. Hi Rory, hope you're doing well. I don't think you need Nick's keys for not buttering that landing. I know. I guess you probably even heard it hitting the ground there. Oof. You've got it this minute, Darren. 18 years ago today was the last commercial flight of Concorde. I actually got them a bit muddled up. I thought today was the last ever flight of Concorde, but no, that was actually a couple of days after. I thought it was the 24th, but no, today was the last commercial flight from New York to Heathrow, and then 2 days after that was the last ever flight of Concorde into Bristol Filton. But there you go, just imagine 18 years ago today. Yeah, everyone was at Heathrow, probably around this time actually. It was just before sunset, wasn't it? Everyone was sat there watching Concorde land, and who would have thought? I don't know if I very much doubt any of the original designers are alive. That I bet if they could see what we're doing, albeit virtually, they'd be very impressed with what you can do on our computers these days. Yeah, Concorde will always fly forever, I guess, in a way. Us lot geeky guys sat on our desks and flying them, and I wouldn't be doing anything else. Absolutely awesome, absolutely love it. There have been repo flights after that, right? I don't know, Listerman. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I landed that like that in the NG, that would trigger a hard warning, and it needs to be inspected after by an engineer. You got it, Rory. Last landing at Heathrow with 3 Concordes. I remember watching that as well when I was a kid. Very, very cool. Anyway, we're almost halfway into our sector. We're in Lisbon airspace at the moment. No ATC at the moment. And then we have a little bit of Madrid airspace, and then this sector is oceanic. These are the Tango Airways, which you don't need ETOPS to fly the Tango Airways here. It's just flown by. You need at least HF radio to talk to Shamwick in this case. But then we'll enter. We're pretty much flying along the London Shannon FIR boundary, but Lelsu, it's just worked out really nicely. Regards to descent planning in Concorde, I mentioned it in a previous stream. It was a BA captain on it was a video I watched a few months ago. He said, you know, descent was really easy in Concorde. You know, you had to work out where you need to be subsonic by and make sure you started your descent 100 miles before. He said if you start 100 miles before the point at which you need to be subsonic, you'll be subsonic by then, and then add another 100 miles for your destination. So he said top of descent 200 miles. It's just simple, easy maths, and it works really well. So you'll find that Lelsu, I think it's a little bit more than that. It's about 260 miles, but I found out by the time I go in a straight line towards here and initiate the descent, I can get down to 28,000 feet for here and be subsonic, and then we'll have a little bit of a level segment before we initiate our descent, because I want to try and stay supersonic over the water and subsonic over land. Oceanwick airspace, love it, list of it. Brilliant. Madrid Control just got a very cool peak there. That'll be a small little bit of ATC we might get. What's the wind doing up there? Let's have a look. I don't know if the INS will show me. It is 263 at 21 knots. I know what the temperature is. X-plane stand. I bet it's minus 56. Yep. X-plane's always the same temperature at this above sort of 30,000 feet. I don't know if it's possible on X-plane, but could you replicate some air crash scenarios to fly and see how you would have dealt with the problems? I think someone might have done that already. But one thing I am going to be doing in future streams, on a request actually from a couple of people at the same time, is we all love flying the Zebo mods here, the 737. But at the end of the day, it's my aircraft. You guys might want to see something a little bit more than just flying from A to B all the time. So I am going to be turning on the X-plane random failures again, and I am going to, in the coming weeks, plan a stream where the engine will fail at some point. So it'll happen, I think with X-plane, I want to be careful here so I don't actually activate anything. If I go to failures, you could then select, you know, engines, failures, engine whatever. I'm going to be careful here. And then you just simply set, I think I can set an exact time or a mean time until failure. And then you put 60 minutes. So we'll get, you know, takeoff. I'll start that and we'll do like an hour and a 30-minute flight. And that means at some point the engine will fail during the flight. It could be in the climb, it could be on takeoff, it could be in the cruise, it could be in the descent. And that way I can, you know, go through the procedures as well. You know, I must share a disclaimer here because I know a lot of, you know, pilots and people line training and whatnot, you know, do reference these videos. I must stress, one of the reasons I don't do this is because I know that people watch that and they might pick things up. This is purely entertainment. All these videos will always be entertainment. So I don't want anyone picking up anything from what I'm doing because, you know, I'm in a single pilot environment on a desktop simulator providing an entertaining stream and show. So, you know, give you an opportunity to see how I'd deal with it if I was presented with that situation. But, you know, would it be what I necessarily do in real life? I'll try and make it that case, but it might not necessarily be that case as well. But it'll be quite cool, I think, for you to see. So yeah, I'll do that. What are we now? I don't know. It'll be some point next month. I'll probably do a couple of normal streams first, but I'm going to turn on the random failures because we might get some other things generated. But yeah, I will build and plan a stream around that. Hopefully the VATSIM controllers will be able to accommodate the issue there. QPT, none of my business, but can't stop asking myself, where are your co-pilots? What do you mean the aviation fascination? Where's Jim or virtual Concorde? Not sure. Listen to me, engine fail after runway vacation, perfect. No, that's why I said I'll set it to 60 minutes and make sure the flight time's in excess of an hour and a half. That means it'll happen, you know, at least prior to top of descent. It wasn't Concorde in Microsoft Flight Sim 2000. Yeah, that should be a very basic version of it. Paul Emerson. There are other high quality shaving brands available. Love it. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Travel, have you ever thought about doing a shared cockpit stream? Several times. I think I've been saying that for 2-3 years, Travel, Rasmus. I've been talking to 320 Pilot. He 320 Sim Pilot emailed me about a month ago. I need to get back to him actually regarding to doing something. I think one of the first things I might do with either him or V1 or someone else, we share a flight on the VATSIM network. They'll take the Boeing, I'll take the Airbus. I think that'd be quite fun, and then we'll look at perhaps a shared cockpit option. Fly JSIM approving the Q400 Twitch, very good. I will certainly be taking that out for a spin. As I was saying, Blue Bay, yes. I will, hope you're doing well, buddy. Fuel gauge goes down as fast as student pilot's bank account. Yes, it would seem so. What are we burning at the moment? 20 tons an hour. 20 tons an hour, we've got 41, so we could stay here for an hour and a half before we got to our final reserves. Victor, any tips for landing this monster? Last time I destroyed it. It's very, very different landing technique to the one used in the 7.3. In fact, I'll find the manual for you. It does come with some very extensive documentation. This add-on, You've got a dedicated full manual in 2 parts, about 400 pages, and then you have separate little manuals to help you there. But I think one of these explains the landing technique. Yeah, and all the systems as well. It's a really, really great manual actually. Bring it up for you guys so you can see. Pro streamer. So you got all the phases here and procedures. So final touchdown 398, and this is just one of the 7 manuals. I think actually I need to go to part 2 actually. Or not. I thought it's on page 328. Tips, procedures. Where's the landing? Maybe it was on the manual after all. Landing gear. Yeah, it's got enough for you to chew on for a while. That's for sure. Some 24 instances of landing. Where is it? I'm trying to find out where to land this beast. Essentials. The visual concept of manuals, yeah, really nice. There's one of these that talks about the landing technique, but I think the main manuals are all the technical aspects of the aircraft. I've accidentally turned on the old... oh no, I haven't. Ben, did you get a across the pond slot? I'm working, Ben, so I didn't even apply.
Fuel status 40 tons.
Out of 40 tons. We're only about 20 minutes from top of descent. No, it's 25 minutes. I think Madrid won't bother with you. No, I think I'm only in their airspace for a minute amount of time. Here we are. So I only entered Madrid airspace about 2 minutes ago, and then 2 minutes later I'm ending it. It's pretty pointless to call me up. And then Shamwick's not online today, so you need oceanic clearance just to go from, free from Pitax to the oceanic exit point of Leslu. But again, that won't take long at all. We are airborne now for an hour. We've been airborne for an hour, and we're already just west of the Bay of Biscay. The speed of this thing is just outrageous. I can't find the landing technique, but essentially, I think you close the thrust over the threshold. One of the things I found that's quite challenging with this aircraft is maintaining speed with thrust. So actually, I'm utilising the auto throttle quite late onto the approach, until we get quite close to the ground today. The auto throttle automatically trips off at a certain height anyway, about 150 feet or so, and at that point it's just about the right time to close it. The workload is absolutely bonkers. I don't know if any of you also fly the Colimata Concorde. I just cannot. I had it with the previous version as well. Sometimes, I saw on Discord as people are having the same issue, I just cannot get it to intercept the glide slope. I've done everything. On all the streams it always works. It might work this time round. But Vorlark works fine, intercept localizer. When I push glide, just nothing happens. So I end up having to wind the altitude down to 0 and just using vertical speed and then disconnecting. It works, but it'd be quite nice to actually use the glide slope function. Low-key want Checo Perez to win the GP. He's P3, isn't he? I snapshot back, the internet's entire house went down. Outrageous. That's no good. Yeah, really. It's late, isn't it? Late race, but it's nice time, 8 o'clock. Perfectly timed. You know, I'll finish, you guys can go get your dinner, and then put your feet up, watch the F1. I did see that collision between the 737 and Tugger Stansted. Yeah, someone shared the pictures. Ouch. Pete, if Shamwick was on, would you need clearance from them? Yes. Who do I think will win? I think Max might do. John, you haven't had any issues with the glide slope capture. This is the thing. When I've been testing it never worked. So this is what I mean. Look how we're turning left. Did you see that? The turning left, even though it's a right turn, it always sort of does that, left and then right. But look, it's bang over the waypoint. That is pretty accurate for INS. Anyway, we're now inbound to our last waypoint, just south of Ireland. Well, I say our last waypoint, our current waypoint, Lelsu, and that is where I want to initiate descent, which is in 20 minutes. 20 minutes I'll be initiating our descent here. Gino, I was on my break and I noticed that we flew over you. You should have flown in from a different airport. I've done Concorde streams before, and a few guys, what they've done, they've flown in, their commercial jet airliners, but somewhere a lot closer, and just made it to the ETAs around the same time. Snapshot, where are we? We are just northwest of Spain. And that is a distance we've travelled since you were out of power. A considerable amount.
60,000 feet.
Right.
Maximum flight level.
Any Concorde experts here? We've reached 60,000 feet. We can't go higher, even though... don't think it should be doing that. 60,200. Out hold. I think it's because it just happens to be over a turn. It's just the autopilot is slightly struggling there to maintain height. I still have full dry power set here, but I have to take a bit of thrust off. Otherwise the aircraft's going to accelerate past MMO, which is about 2.08. So what I've been doing is using the autothrottle to put Mach hold on. I'm guessing that's what the real pilots did, but you've got to be so careful. If I was to actually close the thrust levers now, all the engines would fail. You can't just close the thrust levers because those doors we talked about, those intake doors, are halfway closed, already fully closed there. We'd starve the jet engines of air, so you have to be really careful of this. But I will use auto throttle and Mach hold now, and I might just take a little bit of thrust off because it's just reducing it slightly, but not below the minimum required. The minimum required N2 is 94%. I'm really interested to know what Concorde pilots did if they actually reached 60,000 feet prior to descent. Out hold, auto throttle, Mach hold. Yeah, thanks, Joe Garris 3. That's what I sort of went for, so that should be good. There we are. Very good. Right, we should probably start talking about our descent, seeing it's less than 20 minutes. Hi Alec, good day from the Bahamas to you. Aviation PD, are you receiving my question? You do like to keep coming in here. Have we started descent? No. This is why I should contact Houston. We're a little bit up there, don't we? But there we are. It's nicely level off at 600. It's taking a little bit of thrust off, but still, you know, above the minimum required of 94%. Right then, let me grab our charts for Leeds. So, there we go. Let me grab what I have opened down. Let's talk about descent. So, as I was mentioning a few minutes ago, 200 miles away from destination is ultimately where you'd like to descend. We're having to do that a little bit sooner because we want to be going subsonic by the time we reach land. Actually, this is where we were last stream at the BAE Hawk Loop. We're going to go right over the Mach Loop. No, we're not going to fly Mach Loop in Concorde today, before anyone asks exactly where we're flying over. I should think, in reality, the routing wouldn't be exactly the same, but you need to be above a certain height here, because it's all tactical area airspace here. So, what I found testing was that Leslie, when we fly overhead that waypoint, shortly afterwards is a great place to initiate our descent, and that would ensure that by the time we just reach Wales here, just south of Carnarvon, we'll be below Mach 1, causing a little bit less disruption for our Welsh friends down there. And we'll continue descending, and we'll be going towards Wallasey. Wallasey I want to be at around flight level 200, and I'll be utilising vertical speed afterwards to descend there. And then the rest of our routing is the arrivals. So, when we get approaching Wallasey, the INS waypoints I've programmed, remember, are Wallasey, Barton, Pole Hill, so I can utilise INS or switch to conventional navigation. But what we'll do when we get to Wallasey, we'll fly 081 outbound to Barton. After 26 miles, we'll know we're at Barton. We'll then make a left turn to intercept the radial 217 from Pole Hill. And now, this is where I'll be jigging things slightly, okay? The arrival takes you from Pole Hill directly to the NDB, Leeds Bradford 402.5, which I've already tuned. Now, if you have a look here, it doesn't really place you in a decent position to fly the approach straight away outbound. So you've got two options. You can either enter the hold and then the procedure. However, because it's Leeds, no offence to my friends from Leeds here, the published hold, which is a left turn, 318's the outbound, 138's the inbound, is the opposite direction of the procedured approach. So how you actually get from the hold to the procedure, I'm not so sure. Because you have to hold in this direction. I think the way they do it is there's this alternative procedure here. So the alternative procedure, instead of flying the procedure turn, you just fly the hold, and it says extend your outbound leg of your hold till 9 miles. So it's a racetrack sort of procedure. You fly left turn and you extend this to 9 miles and then fly into the approach. So that's what I was thinking of doing. I either can go over the hold and then make a left turn, go straight outbound. However, you should really be within 30 degrees of your outbound track before you can go straight outbound. So what I'm going to be doing is something slightly different. This is completely legal. You can either do it two ways. You can either get a vector, or you can self-position onto the approach, so long as you're sort of intercepting within 30 degrees, and then you can go straight out. Now, radar vectors would be preferable, because ATC will be responsible of ensuring that you're clear of terrain. But self-positioning is also acceptable. When you're self-positioning, though, you must not be below the MSA until you must stay above the MSA until you're established on the procedure. So if you have a look here, the MSA highest sector is 3,500 to the southwest. So if we descend to 4,000 feet and within 25 miles, you can do really whatever you want, even at night time. My operator, at night time, we can't self-position below the MSA. So if we self-position, we must ensure we're above the MSA at night. During the day, you can be below the MSA, but you must be in visual contact with the terrain. So what we're going to do is slightly jig this. We might get lucky and get ATC, and they can vector us onto the ILS, which would be the most preferential thing to do. But what I'm going to do is, after Pole Hill, is make a right turn and head east. Okay. When I get within 30 degrees of our outbound track 333 here, which is going to be 360 pretty much, I'm going to make a left turn to self-position for the outbound procedure. Now, this again is an option that could be flown in real life as well, But what I'm doing is completely legal, completely safe. We're going to make sure we're at 4,000 feet, which is also the height of the procedure over the locator. And what we'll do, we'll wait until we're on the 180 QDR from the beacon. So just to show you where our ADF is, here, if I bring the navigaph there as well. So you look down here on the ADF, I've already tuned 402, which is the frequency here, 4025. It took me ages to do it because I put 4025 but it didn't work, so it's 0402. And we'll be looking at our ADF, okay. So as I mentioned, if I look at my little mouse cursor here, when we're directly south of the NDB, the head of this needle will be pointing at 360, okay, and we're going to make a left turn. By the time we finish that turn, we'll be roughly pointing towards the ADF, and from there onwards we'll be within 30 degrees of the outbound track, and we can start our descent. Okay, so we'll make sure we're doing about 220 knots by the time we are over the locator, and we're going to fly outbound on a track of 333. This is the Cat CD, Cat A and B, what is it? 333. I just want to make sure I've got the right one here, because there is another one. Yeah, that's the Cat A, B and C. So 333, and we go outbound to 9 miles. Once we're at 9 miles, we make a left turn onto the approach. Okay, and we maintain 3,000 feet till 6.1. Elevation's quite high here. So yeah, if there's no ATC, that's what we're going to fly today, this procedural approach there. That's it. Otherwise we get vectors. I can't set any of the courses or frequencies yet because I need to set that to other things. The decision altitude is 874 feet. Again, you wouldn't do this in reality, especially in Leeds with the undulating terrain, but to ensure I get a big decision height line, I'm going to set 200. It would be the incorrect height. The big thing to remember is the altimeter, when it reads the minimums of whatever it was I just said, 874 feet. So what I'm going to do is put all these little random coloured bugs around. Let's put it all at... Oh, I can't. That's impossible to set. Guys, when it reads 874 feet, we're at the MTA. I can't even move those there. So yeah, that's it. Now, what's going to be the really challenging thing about this airport? I keep forgetting. I don't use Avitab now. I use Navigraph all the time. But if I actually show you now the runway length, why this is going to be such a challenging approach. Let me bring up the airport chart there. Here it is. So the runway is 2,200 metres, but it has a huge displaced threshold, so the actual landing distance beyond the glide slope is 1,500 metres. This is just absurd. So what I'm going to try and do is stop, okay? It's going to look alarming because the end of the runway is here, so I'm hopefully I'll touch down. If I don't touch down the touchdown zone, game over. I'll be going for the mist, and we'll definitely not make Delta. We're going to the end 180 and then a right turn at Delta, and then we'll find somewhere to park. You know, this is all sceptical. I mean, if I'll make this in, but this will be dreaming if we get to this stage here. So yeah, that's it. What else did I want to say? If I have to go around, this approach is quite simple, but low stop altitude for us. We go straight ahead to 2,000 feet, right turn back to locator, and then I'll just go straight outbound again for another approach. And if after a second attempt I don't get it, I'll see how much fuel we have. We're going to get in. We're going to get in. Third attempt, we're going to run out of fuel. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today, somehow. And that's pretty much everything covered there with the approach briefing. Now, let's tune up the frequency. Look at that, look, we're almost approaching UK airspace. Unbelievable. Let's tune up our first VOR, which will be Wallasey 14.1. Not quite in range yet. And we'll be starting our descent in about 8 minutes. Mason, what's your alternative? Manchester. Tony, it's a shame that you're landing in the opposite direction as you would fly over my house. Ah, sorry, man. But we're using live weather at the moment. Surface wind in Leeds is 190 at 12. So, yes, it is definitely runway 14 in use. And we have an 8 knot crosswind. Not as bad as it definitely could be in Leeds, that's for sure. Boga. No. It is Sunday. Fire crews are on standby at Leeds. They've sandbagged the end of the runway. Brilliant, John. Excellent. Hello, Captain Shaquille O'Neal. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Robert, I'll see you on the ground, boss. Just started my descent to Leeds from Nottingham. Very cool. Aviationpedia, do you make other videos other than streams? I primarily stream these days, but this winter I'm planning some more tutorials. I'm probably going to do some in the PMDG for Microsoft Flight Simulator when that comes out, and I'll be doing some comparison videos as well, because I think a lot of people might be interested in my opinion on that. Maybe they won't be. Snapshot, missed that. Extended racetrack procedure, very typical for military aerodromes in the UK. Yeah, I have to say, I don't think I've seen many commercial airports which have the alternative racetrack procedure to get you positioned final. Most of them are the conventional teardrop procedural approach. Mark, any chance flying to Newcastle sometime? Great stream, by the way. Thank you very much, Mark Barrett. We have streamed in and out of Newcastle a few times in the past, but no doubt it'll make an appearance again. John, you like the short runway 737 video with a 3-point ton? That was more entertainment, but it was actually to demonstrate. It was also quite useful, just demonstrating the stopping performance of the 737 if you need it. Oh, I just heard some fun. Did you hear that? I just heard some thunder in X-Plane. Aviation video, are you planning to fly to Mumbai? I haven't. I've only done one stream in India, and that was from New Delhi to the really difficult approach, Paro. But no, I'll look into going into there again. Yeah, you heard the thunder. Yeah, that's just active sky. no effects. Actually, there's one thing that's worth pointing out here in the Concorde. When it's subject to turbulence in X-Plane 11 with active sky, it's very unstable. I have actually had to disable, what was it? I had a note of it from my last stream in Concorde. I've actually had to disable the turbulence scale effect, turn it off, because it just turbulence, it rolls all over the place, like rolls 50 degrees left and right, and it's very uncontrollable. One of the passengers is supersonic gas. Love it, John. David, isn't the runway undulating at Leeds? Are you landing with the runway falling away from you? Oh, I can't remember. This is another factor. The Orbeck scenery is really nice scenery for Leeds. However, the runway is sloped and undulating, but it's sort of, you know, not curved. It's very much like a fixed angle change, and if you catch one of those during the flare, it triggers a hard landing on the calculator, or it can bounce you up as well. So yeah, as I've said, I'll be reminding everyone at 1,000 feet, do not judge this landing. It'll be very much like the one we watched with the Air France one about 30 minutes ago. Uphill, Tony Island, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so it's actually good. 1-4 is good for us. Kieran, V2, is it any good yet? We've been mentioning it loads. It's I think it's worth the £5 update, especially with the INS. The fact that you don't have to use the Siva INS, which has been abandoned, you know, by the developer, that is causing stutters. Causes stutters with the FlyJ sim aircraft. They have a fix for it, but they don't for the Colimata. But you can utilise this INS. We used it to program the routing earlier. It's just missing a few features, but as I mentioned earlier, and someone pointed out in chat, Colimata is pretty much a one-man team, and the fact that he's replicated the most complex commercial jet airliner desktop simulator, I think it's credit. And I think the actual base price for this aircraft is very reasonable for the level of immersion. I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head. I won't tell you, but no, it is the Concorde you want in X-Plane 11. The original Concorde is, if you don't have it, it's $55 now. So what's that? It's 40 quid. It's not bad. Blue Bear, thanks a lot. There's a cemetery end of 1-4. Not going to need it today. Oh, I love the confidence. Mason 9, hopefully Boom Supersonic becomes a thing. Oof. There's a lot of... we mentioned it in the stream, didn't we, a few months back? A lot of us are talking about it at work as well. Obviously, we're not out of the COVID pandemic yet, but we're very much, I think, on the finishing line. This winter in Europe would be quite interesting to see what happens. Well, we won't say interesting. Interesting is the wrong word. It'll be... we'll have to see how it turns out. You know, if there's more lockdowns, we're not at the end of this. I mean, for example, Morocco have started restrictions for flights in from the UK due to cases in the UK increasing. But anyway, going back to what you're saying about boom supersonic, the next thing for aviation, which is going to be a big factor, is climate change. There's no escaping the fact that aircraft, you know, produce a lot of CO2 emissions, especially business jets, and I think there's a lot of this they call it the Greta effect. I think it was, I read an article in Sweden, you know, something like 8% less people flew the year before COVID due to this Greta effect, because of the impact that they see that aviation is having on climate change. But yeah, high density commercial jet aircraft you know, are the most efficient way of travelling as well. So yeah, I think you'll see boom supersonic. There'll be obviously demand for it, but yeah, I think things will be really different in 10 years. I really do. I don't know where we'll stand in 20 years with commercial aviation, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very grateful just to be where I am now. So anyway, yes, people are interested to know Morocco. Yeah, I think Morocco have stopped flights coming off from the UK, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think maybe Germany as well. Hi Tudor, Margin, you think that is? How much did it take you to learn how to fly the Concorde? How did you do it? Also, by the way, amazing stream. Thank you, Tudor. I am no expert. I know how to get it from A to B within limits, not exceeding anything. But yeah, just a lot of time practicing. There's some great tutorials there. I mentioned Maverick 104. I think he's a pilot or anything like that. He might have his PPL, but he has studied this aircraft and created some great tutorials and streamed some really good content, and I have watched some of his videos. I picked up a lot from him. I've mentioned it before. The amount of information available online and the ability for Joe Public to pick up a commercial airliner like this on a desktop simulator. You can study that aircraft and you can manipulate the controls to fly this with quite good accuracy and knowledge. As I've always mentioned, everyone likes this one. Everyone always asks me, look, there we go, we're turning left for a right turn. It just does that again. We're about to start descent as well, excellent. One of the things is that in reality, you wouldn't perhaps be able to know even how to move the seat forward to reach the controls. Could you get an aircraft set up for an autoland? Absolutely, but when it actually came to handling, it's very different, very, very different. The control column on the 7.3 is very heavy. The feel and control needed for the landing technique is very different. Across an excess of 10 knots, forget about it. You'll be off the side of the runway probably. But you can pick up so much from watching videos and tutorials online. Hayden, 104 flight, it's not a real pilot. He's very, very good flying the Concorde. Really excellent videos. I recommend them 100%. Ben, there's actually quite a few alpacas on their way into East Midlands currently. Wow, very cool. I see your point there, Jay Paris. Yeah, he's trained professional. Yeah, I've seen his logo. Taylor L, how far until top of descent? You've come just at the right time. So, as we mentioned, we're now in a straight line almost. We'll start our descent to make sure we're going subsonic by this little bit of land here. So let's talk about this procedure then. So we've got to be really careful, treat these engines with respect. You can't just close them. If you do that, you're going to have 4 engine failures. Alright, so you've got to keep a higher thrust setting, but because we're going so fast, these engines are pretty much at full power. Just taking a little bit of thrust off. We use drag to slow us down before we initiate our descent. So how do we do this then? We're going to disengage max climb and max crude if engaged, which they're not. In this case we have out hold engaged. We're now going to disconnect the auto throttle.
Auto throttle off.
And we're going to reduce the thrust until our N2 is at 94%. Okay. And no less. Just oscillating around again. There we are, so 94%. Again, there's a little thrust, there's a little icon here on the thrust lever here. Yeah, I think you can reduce it further and set it to this little white arrow, which has got a guard there. I think it's called TLA. Am I making that up? I think there's a position there, I'm not so sure. But no, we've set the thrust to 94%. And now we're waiting for the aircraft to reduce to 360 knots indicated. You can see, look, just by reducing the thrust, that small small amount. You can see the aircraft's decelerating quite quickly. You can see we've also now picked up the Wallasey VOR, 187 miles away. Dungeon K, how do you know that you're entering icing conditions at night? I think someone answered it because I saw Lissaman's response. There's a little torch. Yes, we have a little torch in the 737 just here. You can actually point that up to the wipers. But that's only in descent or climb. In the cruise, you're not going to get any ice above 32,000 feet. It's too cold. We are doing a few. You see, it's oscillating a lot around that waypoint, but you know, it's getting us there. I might switch to conventional navigation soon anyway. We can do. You reduce thrust now and you're climbing. Yeah, that's just the automation. He's just struggling with that waypoint change, but we're just waiting now for 360 knots. Massive Nerd, absolutely correct. That's why I like X-Plane and Zebo mod so much. The feeling is very different, but the inputs are comparable. So if you go full left on the joystick and full left on the control column, the roll rate is very similar. So that's why I like it so much. Yeah, the INS mode in this update is really not great. No, I think I agree. I think the Siva INS is a lot more smoother. It does really wobble around quite a lot here. Anyway, 360 knots coming up. Once that's done, we can engage vertical speed. I'm just going to preset flight level. Yeah, there's no ATC at the moment, so I'm just going to preset something like flight level 200. 360 knots, so I'm going to engage vertical speed. Wait until 350 knots, the aircraft's just going to start a very gentle descent. And when we get to 350 knots, we'll engage indicated airspeed hold. There we are. And make sure you engage this one, not the one on the auto throttle. This is like level change. It wasn't working earlier in climb, but in descent on all the test sectors it's working. And that's it. We're now descending. We still have 94% N2. We cannot go lower than this until we're below Mach 1.5. When we're below Mach 1.5, which we are going to be soon, we can actually reduce the N2 further if you wish to 77%, but at this stage, no lower than that. Yes, top of descent in chat. Thanks, Greg, for reminding me. And we're descending down. Enjoy the sonic booms whilst they last. Superb. So we're live weather, of course. The time in the sim is 4 hours behind live time, just due to the fact that it would be dark in Leeds. Didn't want to make it any more challenging than it already is. Lovely Nerd Productions. 1 hour 26 minutes of green flag will be done by then. I want to watch that race as well. Is he all blessed? Rohit, did you learn the procedures? There's some tutorials, Captain. Yes, Maverick 104, absolutely. And you know, I've flown it enough times, and as shared with the Discord members, I have a notepad where every time I fly an aircraft that's not the 737, I mean, I'm alright with the 737-200 to be fair, but I dedicate about 3 pages, and it's just full of notes. So everything I told you there regarding the descent there, it's written down in front of me. So you know, I don't have enough of my brain to store that by memory, and you know, it's something I haven't flown this aircraft for 5 months, so I write it down. So when I flew it again, I had this string planned for a while. I did a test sector about a month ago, all okay, but then I wanted to wait until V2 was released, and I flew the first test sector yesterday, and a second one, and a third one this morning, and I was pretty comfortable with what I was going to do. Kieran Harvey, does the CG change cause a bit of a wobble? Was it a bit more dynamic? I think it's a bit of a wobble, and that's great timing actually. We can actually shift that to descent. Let's have a look at the rate of descent. Yeah, it's an instant change, and you can see, look, went from 2 to 5, 6, 7,000 feet. So yeah, it's definitely a big wobble still. It's an instant change, I think, with the fuel trim and not a gradual one. You can throttle down again, Captain, thank you. I want to be at around 20,000 feet in 8 minute, so we're going to lose about 30,000 feet. I think our rate of descent's okay, but yes, I'm going to take a little bit more thrust off shortly, but I'm quite happy with this rate of descent at the moment. Tom C, what perks do you get when you become a member? It all revolves around the Discord. Tom, I have a Discord channel, but it is for the members only. But it allows me to commit all the time for the members in that channel. There's no, I know a lot of people have public Discords, and that's fine. My choice to have a private one. That way I can be a lot more in tune with the guys and the members. Do private streams. Did one this morning. You can talk to me directly. I respond to all DMs daily. I'm not very good salesman or sales pitch, but there's plenty of members here. I'm sure they'll explain how amazing it is. I hope they enjoy their time as well. I haven't Rohit. I've seen a bit of that movie 7500. It's got the same actor in it that was in that film. Is it Loop? I love that film. Yeah, it was a bit far-fetched, but I watched. I don't think I finished it. It's probably not that good. When does the nose drop? My cross pitch, not until we get to the approach phase. So I want to be at around 20,000 feet, as I said, at Wallasey. We're at 45,000 feet right now, so we need to lose 25,000 feet in 7 minutes. Bit of mental maths. So about 3,500 feet we need to be maintaining, and we're doing 3,500 feet. So this rate of descent, pretty happy with. In fact, what I might do is switch to. Turn out acquire on to vertical speed, turn on the auto throttle, IS acquire out. Ooh, gotta be careful here, just don't want the auto throttle to take too much thrust off. Oh god, I forgot to set this to 3.5 though. And we're okay, we just gotta make sure the thrust doesn't go below 77% N2. That's true. Obviously, airplane's the most realistic. Absolutely. So, Mach 1.2. Got a little bit of the UK in view there, and hopefully, just by the time I make landfall, I'll be doing Mach 1. You might need to be going a little bit slower before that, but not bad. There's Orbex True Earth below, looking resplendent. Switches sound nice. They do give you a good flicking sound. Wonderful. Just gonna have a look at the VATSIM situation. Yeah, it was very quiet. Wow. It's amazing. I've noticed since the pandemic's ended, especially at weekends, I mean, there's not a single centre online over the UK. They have northern France, Madrid. It's much quieter. Anyway, 5 minutes to go until we are at Wallasey at 1.1. Well, we should be going a little bit slower. Just so we should be below Mach 1 here. It might be causing a little bit of annoyance down there in Western Wales. Actually, we're fine at 350. So maybe I should just start to send maybe just a couple of minutes sooner. So we need to lose 17,000 feet in 5 minutes. So again, 3,400 feet per minute is our required rate of descent. Just going to increase that slightly now. And once we're below Mach 1, there's no longer any limits on the thrust requirement. You can go idle if required. Danny, hello, just joined. Out of curiosity, how many miles you start descent usually with a Concorde on high altitude with Mach 2? About 200 miles, Danny, from the point at which you want to be landing. You know, obviously not taking into account any requirements to be subsonic over land. And there's 100 miles to get to kind of 28,000 feet subsonic, and then 100 miles to get to your top of descent. John, if you sonic boom the sheep, the farmers won't have to shear them. Outrageous. Love it. Oh, I need to be doing a slightly higher rate of descent, otherwise we'll end up high here. Looking good. We should be touching down in around 25 minutes. No problem, Tudor. There's no limit on how many questions you ask. The whole idea of a live stream is to interact with chat. How do you plan your descent and how do you do it? Again, I'm just quoting a Concorde captain I watched a video of some point ago. There we are, just going subsonic now. Now below Mach 1. Drag increases slightly. Why are we doing 370? Is that because my rate of descent's a little bit high? Yes. 200 miles from top of descent is the point at which you want to initiate your descent from supersonic. It takes about 100 miles to be doing Mach 1 and subsonic, 100 miles to land. You can get very accurate with that if you wanted with tailwinds, headwind components, but when you're travelling those sort of speeds it becomes a little bit more trivial. There we are. Back to normal speeds, 0.9. No more sonic boom. Just an outrageous noise when we go past though. How much fuel have we got? Actually, we've got loads more fuel. I've been a little bit conservative with the fuel planning. We need to get this below, what was the figure? 20... I don't know, there's some way. We need to get this below 26 tonnes. We should have no problem with that. Otherwise we'll be landing a little bit too heavy. Our zero fuel weight was 84.7 tonnes. That means 26.4 tonnes of fuel is our max landing weight. So once we get below 26.4, we're safe to land. Looking good. Better bring these charts up again, actually. So, approaching Wallasey. Once we're at Wallasey, go outbound on the 081 radial until 26 miles. We've got two sets of DME information here. DME from the VOR, from the combined VOR DME, and this is the INS range. So you can see they're pretty close. The difference would be the slant range. And flight level 200 at Wallasey is looking good. We'll do our best to maintain a continuous descent. Hey buddy, you want to come watch the approaching Concorde? Oh. Jack's just walked in. Good boy. John, are we still on INS? Yes. This makes my life a little bit easier. But I will switch to conventional navigation shortly. So flight level 200. I'm actually going to arrest that rate of descent slightly. Just going to be around 2,500 feet per minute. Work out the track miles we have left. So it's about 65 miles to run. Henry, recently got myself some bright green David Clark's. Now I'm a real pilot. Classic. Love it. Good. Well, we're only burning a mere 10 tonnes of fuel per hour. We've got loads of gas at the moment, but we're still descending. Once we get into the procedural approach, the fuel burn, yeah, is around 25 tonnes per hour. We're using live weather. Yes, we are, Jefferson. Now, that's another thing I have not mentioned. If X-Plane decides to make the runway wet, the braking action associated with a wet runway in X-Plane is not the same as the braking action of a wet runway in reality. It is way slippier, way slippier. It's flight level 200, I actually want to keep descending. So, I won't lie, if it's wet, I'm buggered. I'm off the end. I'm going down. There's nothing I can do, but
Wrong fuel trip. Should I change it?
we'll see. No, we still want descent, that's fine. We'll just put approach on shortly. Excellent. So yeah, if it's coming up as wet, that's no good. There is down there Liverpool anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Liverpool. There's the airport. Thank you, INS notification. Leeds, light rain, scattered 1700, 12 degrees, 1010. Lovely. Just Dr. Wood, at least the wind's not too bad. Anyway, outbound from Wallasey, 081. Once we get from Barton inbound to Pole Hill, I'll switch to conventional navigation. It's just giving me a little bit less workload, which I'd like. We've pretty much managed a continuous descent from Mach 2. It's worked quite nicely, this. Michelangelo, so the braking distance on a wet surface on X-Plane is much greater than in real life. It is. It happened on a stream, Michelangelo, a few months back, and I had to actually replay. I did another kind of encore to the stream. You know, we did another approach there, and I just demonstrated. It was really poor, the braking action, and we looked at the X-Plane settings, and it said wet. I was like, that's strange. Uh-oh, some non-Liverpool football fans here. Anyway, got 2 minutes until we are overhead Barton. Unfortunately, none of the nav aid idents work. I've tried listening to the nav and the ADF, but I just can't get it to work. Or probably I just don't know how it works. Edward, what's the flight time so far? We've been airborne for 1 hour 44 minutes. None of the timers work, unfortunately. Airborne for 1 hour 44 minutes. Reduce that rate of descent. Just get too low too early. That's around 1500 feet. It might do. I might be descending a little bit too early, but I had no choice because I needed to be sure I was going subsonic speeds, and I have enough fuel here. I'm going to put the engine anti-ice on. Essentially, a little bit of cloud here. This could get very, very interesting very, very soon. Ah, there we are, under the cloud. Ah, these new enhanced skyscapes, guys, amazing. Really like it. Gives real depth and feel to the clouds. Looks just like we've come out of them as well, as it would do in real life. Right, how do you eat healthy when you fly? Just eat fruit and veg. Pretty simple, really. PK, I did answer that question already. Make sure at the end of the video you leave a comment, and I will post the link to that comment if you want to get the checklist. I'm sure Jordan won't mind me sharing it there. Edwin, what is the droop snoot flight thing for? So improve the visibility. So if you imagine on approach here, we have such a high attitude on final approach here. You know, it's 7-8 times the height. Well, attitude. The attitude is so much higher because there's no flaps. You have to make sure we're making the same amount of lift as we fly slowly. You have to increase the attitude, and that means with this long snooty nose, the flight crew can't see the runway very well. So by dropping that nose, it gives them far better visibility to be able to see outside. I know for a fact that Concorde captains, or Concorde crew, they always try to get it up as soon as possible because it's considerably louder. And actually, they've added that, the developer has included that plugin that's available for Concorde to give you a bit more realistic air noise. But you'll hear it as soon as I drop the nose, the increased wind noise. Right, anyway, let's do some checks here before we get a little bit closer. So this checklist is good. There's a lot of things missing. So things like engine flight rating, yeah, obviously that's meant to have been in the cruise phase. Engine rating probably in flight. I'm going to leave it on takeoff now as we get closer to the ground. It'd be quite nice if some of those additional features be added. Anyway, approaching flight level 100. We'll start reducing our speed to 250 knots. I'm going to switch to conventional navigation. So we need Pole Hill 12-1. just reduce that to descent, so make sure we're doing 250 below 100s. Make sure we're match our heading, so track heading, and I'm going to switch to radio, line up our course. You can see INS has placed us pretty much perfectly on that radial. I'm just going to stay in heading because we're going to be approaching Pole Hill very soon. Yeah, going a little bit fast below 100, but by the time, you know, fix that out, we're doing 250. And if you remember rightly, guys, if I bring up the chart, what we're going to do after Pole Hill is roll out a heading of east to self-position onto that NDB. Make sure we stay above 4,000 feet until we're established there. So there's 250 knots, IS holds engaged, vertical speed still engaged, and we're going to go down to 4,000 feet, which is the MSA. Just wait until we pass overhead the beacon, and just get the QNH for Leeds. Guys, there's no ATC, so I am going to pop offline. I know people have joined there, but just because this is probably this is the most difficult approach I've ever done. Simple as that. QNH is 1010, which I'm setting now, just before we get to Pole Hill. So QNH is 1010. 1010, engine anti-ice is off. So, approaching Pole Hill, 2 miles to go. And we'll see the needles swing, and as soon as that, 8,000, actually about to go right over top now. So we're going to roll out on a heading of east to self-position onto this approach. We've already picked up the NDB. You see the needles are pointing towards Leeds directly. See, in the turn, it sort of stops descending. Hey guys, sorry in chat if I won't be interacting much, it's just, this is extremely high workload now, so alerts are coming off as well. So, as I mentioned, we're now going to head east, and I'm self-positioning now for this approach. So what I'm going to do is wait for the head of that needle to show north. When the head of that needle shows north, we're directly south of the beacon, and then we're going to make that turn 333, so long as we're above the MSA, and that's completely fine to self-position. Astrid, try this into Para or even Madeira, yes. That would be a little bit more difficult. Best do the post-cruise checks as well. I won't utilise the landing lights, just the taxi lights, otherwise it has this sort of washed out floodlight effect. Fuel-wise, we're just going to be below the minimum required, 26.4, so we're just below max landing weight now. We need a bit more engine anti-ice, the outside air temperature. Oh, actually, it's still 59 degrees. I think it's just still cooling down. We just need to set up our final approach course 138, but first I'm going to do the outbound course of 333. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set the final approach course straight away and I'll just use the tail of the needle. So 138. We've pretty much managed a CDA. It's worked out really nicely. Perfect. I know, Danny. Yeah, my fuel planning. Well, I've been a lot more conservative. I think on my test sectors, I was on the ground a little bit longer. We didn't have much delay today, so that extra fuel I was planning on burning, I haven't burnt. So again, guys, yeah, I'll try my best to have a look at chat. How do you prepare for your aptitude test, Rohit? Best thing, honestly, is look online. There's lots of good guidance there available. For myself, I think I downloaded some aptitude testing or something. I can't remember now. Long time ago. Right, again, we need to also tune up the ILS. My goodness. 1109. That way we get some DME information as well. So very, very close to Leeds. 109. We're literally 5 miles away. But remember, we're only going to turn, we're just going to wait until the head of that needle's on north, so my arm routing says south, into position so we can go straight outbound on this procedure. Almost there. There's north, so let's make the turn direct to the beacon. Probably roll out the heading of 340. We're doing 250 knots. I want to get down to 4,000 feet now, so I'm just going to increase that rate of descent. See, as we turn, the rate of descent stops. It just sort of levels off. That has pretty much worked out perfectly. I'm going to go straight outbound. I'm in a position here, just so we can go straight out there. We'll be able to see Leeds shortly. We can also get ready to descend to 3,000 feet on this profile. Why won't you descend? Look, I've got vertical speed of 1,000 feet. Come on, get down, get down. Just a little bit right of the beacon here. I'm going to start chasing the needle. Just a little bit more right. We're still within 30 degrees. 333 is the outbound track. There it is, there is Leeds, there's the rain. Oh dear. Oh my days. Right, about to go right over the top of the beacon. So let's turn now. 333, I need to make a wind correction as well. There's the needle swing. Outbound we go. We can go down to 3,000 feet now as well. I want to bring the speed back to 220 knots. Nice and quiet. And let's increase that rate of descent as well, because that turn there pretty much leveled us off. I'm going to get straight down to 3,000. 6,000 is a nice height to be, though, for the procedure. So you see now, as we fly to 220 knots, you know, even though we're descending at 1,500 feet per minute, we have a nose-up attitude of 8 degrees. We need to also trim for landing. Oh no, I think I'm a bit late with that, actually.
Fuel trim to landing.
That should, hopefully, yeah, that's actually going to improve the attitude. We'll take, I was going to say 0. We'll go straight to 5 degrees now. We need to wait for 9 miles. So how am I know where I am? I'm tracking the outbound of that needle, so it's about 340. I need to make a slight left turn there, make no wind correction. So I'm going to be slightly right of that line. There we are. And our final approach speed will be 180 knots. Yeah, that CG to landing's definitely helped now. That was a bit high. We've been struggling to land otherwise. Outer quiet is engaged, Tom Baldock. Just a bit of a grab. Thanks, John. As promised, this will not be a nice landing. Makes me nervous. I'm nervous. Colin, why is wet runway a problem? That explains modelling of wet runways is somewhat slippier than one would expect. Wait for 9 DME for the turn. That's looking good. Tail of that needles on 333. That's a nice little correction for the wind as well. Remember, the wind's coming from the south, 190, so sort of this direction. So I made a little bit of a turn to the left, track 333. There's 9 miles. Give ourselves an intercept heading. Apply a little bit of a base leg. Now. So looking at that needle, when that needle's pointing at 138 on the head, we're established, so I just want to try and judge my approach there. It might be a little bit low on the glide slope, but that's not a bad thing. Don't want to be too low, obviously, but we can actually go, well, we can't go below 3,000 feet to intercept the ILS. That's the platform altitude. 200 knots. The head of that needle's almost there, so I'll make that final turn. To arm Vorlock. Don't be too early arming Vorlock. If you do it during the turn, it can continue turning. Sort of like LNAV intercept really on the 7.3. So wings level. And there's Vorlock. That's armed. 9.5 miles. Line slope's not quite alive yet. There's localizer alive. Localizer capture. Come on, turn. Why are you not turning? It's left that late. 138, final approach heading is set. Just waiting for the glide slope to come alive now. IS hold, onto wings level, speed back to 180 knots, which will be our final approach speed. A bit faster, but I found flying the correct speed. It's too slow. As soon as that glide slope's alive, which it is now, gear down.
Gear coming down.
I'll try the glide slope capture again, but I just don't think it will work. I just haven't had it work yet. So within 1 dot, I push glide, we'll see what happens. 180 knots.
Gear down.
Thanks.
4 greens.
So there's 1 dot. Glide, just not having it. Don't know why, it just does that on the test sector. So, don't worry, we'll revert to something else. Let's do 1,000 feet, out acquire, vertical speeds. And I'm going to follow the glide slope using vertical speed, like a VS approach. Glide slope capture. I can't set the missed approach altitude, otherwise the aircraft will level off. Just making a slight adjustment there, nice crosswind. So, gear down, full visor, 180 knots final approach speed is set. Glide slope we're following using vertical speed at the moment, and I'm going to close the auto throttle just above the runway and disconnect for me there. And here we go. This will not be easy. It'll be a hard landing or if off the end of the runway. A little bit higher on that glide slope. You know what? Disconnecting the autopilot.
Autopilot off.
My aircraft. I'm going to leave the auto throttle on and get rid of the fly directors because they're providing no guidance. Oh, that's a little bit of an excessive rate of descent there, 2,000 feet per minute. The auto throttle is going to take care of my speed. So now I've disconnected, I can set the missed approach altitude, 3,000 feet. Don't want any of those out to quiet business. We're on the glide slope now, a little bit left of centre line. It's raining, and I think that crosswind's a little bit stronger now. Just making those corrections at the centre line. Still left of centre line, 1 dot low, 3 reds, so just watch that rate of descent, set about 500 feet per minute. Okay, 2 reds, 2 whites, so that's better. Glide slope's going back in, so keep it descending now. Speed's okay. Looking good, 2 reds, 2 whites, 3 reds. Radio altimeter's alive. Looking good now, 2 reds, 2 whites. Bit of excess speed, not a good thing on this short runway, but I want to make sure we're going to actually fly. The altitude seems really high, 9 degrees, keep it descending. Get ready to disconnect the auto throttle. Keep it descending.
300.
There's that crosswind, there's minimums. Continue.
200.
Auto throttle off.
Auto throttle off.
100 feet.
General flare.
50 feet.
Close.
40. 20.
Oh, I've bounced. No, that's not right. Go around. Burners in. Full power. Full power. Why are you not accelerating? We're going around. We're going off our head. Gears up.
Gear coming up.
Oh, look at it go now. Right, cancelling reheat. Straight ahead 2000. Reheat's off.
Gear up. Doors locked.
Take a bit of power off. Climbing straight ahead to 2,000 feet, then we're going to make that right turn back to the beacon, 250, take a bit of power off. There's 2,000, right turn, and we're going to have another go. I even floated there as well. Watch that speed. Right, let's see if we can get a little bit of automation here to help me out. Approaching 3,000. Throttle's in. Oh, no, actually. We're still set to. This is not easy. Watch the speed, watch the height, 3,000. I have to self-position. Whoa! Look at the speed go. Trying to bug 250. Keep that right turn going as well. This is the hardest thing I've done ever in a flight sim. Look at the speed. It is almost impossible to control. Height. Oh, this would not be good on my check. I'm not even looking at chat right now. Right, that's one thing dealt with. Speed, 3,000 feet is set. Auto throttle on. Right, you deal with that, please. Right, pilot now to quiet. Flight directors. That's going to level off for me at 3,000, he says. Let's set that heading. And we're going to go straight outbound for another go. We've got 20 tons of fuel left, enough for another go. So it's all part of the plan. You know, I knew I had too much fuel. As if the caution fuel status just came straight back in. Right, so we're going to head straight back to the beacon because Concorde is incredibly fast. We're going to probably overshoot already, so we need to bring that speed back to 220. Nice and quiet. I've got Vorlox flashing at me. And we're going to have to roll out on a heading of almost east here to intercept this beacon. Oh my goodness me. Alright, second attempt. Why did he say 20 when you touched down? I think the rad outs are all out because I flared but it was too late. But the problem is I hit the ground too hard and bounced straight back in the air again, so it was, if I'd attempted to land off that, it'd be game over. Right, we're going to be self-positioning again on this approach, 220 knots. I'm just going to put this up to 5 degrees. The missed approach was okay, it was a bit, it was stupendously high workload. But fuel's fine, 20 tons, that's about 13 tons is 30 minutes, so we're okay here. But the problem is, I'm going to have to sort of self-position for this approach because the turns are so... Oh, I've just realised I didn't have heading slipped on. The workload is so high here. Right, I'm going to go straight outbound from this angle. This is balmy, but it should work. Leeds is directly below us, it should be. There you go. We'll be back. We're coming back, threshold. Hold on. I haven't looked at anything in chat yet. Leeds bounce something or other. Lots of laughing emojis. Unbelievable. Would this plane be able to handle a landing that hard? Eric, go back in the stream and watch the Air France video. I think it was a similar impact they had. Actually, that heading's rolled out quite nicely. Certainly not within the 30 degrees to go straight out, but we're just 10 degrees off our final approach track. But we're at 3,000. We're going to maintain 3,000 and attempt 2 coming in here. I will get it down. Captain Danny Boy, I just landed and got a -178 in the Concorde and didn't overrun. I need to see proof of that, Captain Danny Boy. There we are. Let's try attempt number 2. Right, looking for the tail of that needle on 333. 3,000 feet's the platform, that's fine. We should have been at 4,000, but we can stay here now. Just waiting again for that 9 DME. Tail of that needle on 333. I just need another track adjustment because remember that strong wind coming from the left. Yeah, the residents will not be happy. Yeah, and the glide slope not working makes it a little bit more difficult, but no, I might commit to the landing on the wasted one. It's just the bounce was too high on that one. I would challenge anyone in chat to do the same approach. Right, another mile to go before we turn. Let's bring the speed back to 200 knots. Probably need a bit of engine anti-ice on from this rain as well. 8.8, 8.9, and we're turning final. I'll show you where we are. There you go. Just flying out about on the procedure. Should work out quite nicely for an intercept. I think actually it's going to be a little bit too soon. Here we go. Look at that attack. Right, I need to concentrate. So, need the head of that needle now on 138. It's about 140, so we'll keep that turn coming in for the intercept. Glide slopes all the way there, but we're at the platform altitude level, that's okay, we can intercept the glide slope and then fly. And let's engage and forelock again. Oh, just need, hold on, I just need to make sure though that we are wings level before I do that, otherwise I have to keep turning. No, don't turn that way. There we are. Localizer alive, localizer armed. Train's already set. Visors coming down again. Localizer capture. Heading 138 set. Attempt number 2. .180 knots. As soon as that glide slope comes alive, I'll bring the gear down. Down to 17 tons. It's about 40 minutes of fuel remaining. Glide slope's alive. Gear down.
Gear coming down.
I'm not confident that glide's going to work again. So I've pre-armed the altitude, ready to select vertical speed. Preset that, something sensible.
Gear down.
Let's try it. Glide.
Greens.
Oh, it's worked. Glide slope's actually on this time. Always takes a second time round. Glide slope capture. Missed approach altitude, 3,000 feet set. That's going to make my life a bit easier. So I'm going to utilise the automation as much as possible to get me in a decent, stable position for this approach. Gentle flare, but it will be firm, it'll be wasted, it will be hard landing. It is the only way to get this thing into Leeds. I just can't have that bounce that we had first time round. We've got 50 minutes until the F1 starts as well. Right, 180. I think I had too much speed on that last time. I was a bit late bringing the thrust off, so actually when I touched down I was going too fast, which is why it went straight back in the air again. So, landing checklist. Landing gear 4 green, that's a little wheel at the back, remember. Visors fully down to 16 tons of fuel, lights are on. Missed approach altitude set. Okay, let's get it all trimmed out. All ready for this. Not so buttery landing. Wish me luck, guys. Take some speed off. Elliot, trust me, if you fly at 170, you hit the tail first. I think the speeds are slightly off the recommended speed here. 180 on the test sectors work quite nicely. It might not be accurate, or I'm sure it's meant to be a little bit slower, but I just found it very difficult. Right. Disconnecting autopilot.
Autopilot off.
Flight director's off. Again,
500 feet.
that's checked. Remember there's a strong crosswind coming in now from the right now. So I don't want to sort of make a left turn to fly towards the runway here, otherwise we'll just drift downwind. Ready to take that auto throttle off again. Last minute, I just need to reduce the thrust a bit sooner. Keep descending. A little bit low here. There we go, keep descending.
300 feet.
You can do it. 3 reds.
200
Auto throttle off.
Auto throttle off.
Closing the thrust now a bit sooner.
30,
Check.
40,
Come on, come on.
20.
Right, hard landing, that's fine. Right, right, that's it. We're down. Right, speed brakes up. Oh, I've got full nose down, but the nose won't go down. I need to select reverse because I want to stop here. Full nose down, come on. There we go. Nose is down. There's 100 knots. I can't start braking until I'm below 100. There we are, I can start applying some wheel brakes now. 100, 80, off the wheel brakes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leeds Bradford. Cancelling reverse to idle. And we are down. Did I say speed brake? You meant reverses. You know what I meant. Oh, that was good. Hard landing. I'm very happy with that. Honestly, you guys have been watching a couple of hours ago and saw the Air France. He got a wasted. Oh my goodness me. Right. I'm very, very happy with that. I wish I just did it first time instead of getting the wasted. It's a good job we did stop. Don't want to go off the end there. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leeds Bradford. Absolutely mega. I'm not sure why there's a little runway edge lights there. Cool. I raised V1 simulations to come and beat me there. We did a little Calvi off challenge. He needs to now come to Leeds and try and beat me. Very good. Oh dear, that was... I'm sweating. I am sweating, guys. And we've got 15 tons of fuel. That is about 40 minutes of endurance left, as in 40 minutes before the engines flame down. So if I had to have gone around again, there would have been sufficient fuel for one more approach with a sort of mayday call. But yeah, brake temp. So honestly, guys, I only actually started braking. The reverses are very effective on this aircraft. I only started braking below 100 knots. So let's have a look at the brake temperatures. Look, I even hit above 1,000 on the test sector though. If I slammed on the brakes, see if I brake hard, you'll see it. See how the needle just moved ever so slightly up? But if you start braking at 160 knots, that temperature gauge will shoot up. But you only start braking once you're below 100 knots there. So yeah, pretty happy. Excellent. That was hard work. I will take the time to read everything on chat there, guys. But as you imagine, the workload for me, that is one of the hardest approaches I've ever done on a live stream. Really quite a tough one. Right, flaps up. The second one was diabolical. Sorry, the first one was diabolical, wasted, bounced straight up. The second one was great. I'm very happy with that because I didn't get many. I got wasted on so many of the practice approaches. 5 degrees. Sorry. Right, let's think about the cleanup. We'll leave the taxi lights on. I didn't want the landing lights on anyway. We have no strobes on for now. We'll get ready to shut down 2 of the engines. And then we'll go straight on there. Connor, yes, I know what you'd like to hear. A little bit of the old taxi music there. Oof. My goodness me. We just need to take off from there. Did I say? Yeah, flaps up. It's all a joke, Michelle. It's all a joke. Whenever I fly anything, I always say speed brake up reverses, even if it's a Cessna. Excellent. We'll go straight onto the stand ahead. That's the one I did on the practice sector as well. There's a little marshaller there. Let's save a bit of fuel as well. I'm going to turn off the inboard engines. This sounds great as well when I do this. Have a listen to this, guys. It's soaking wet. There's our marshaller. There's meant to be probably several things I'm checking or configuring prior to taxiing on the stand.
Welcome.
Let's turn the taxi lights off. Oh, one there. There we go. Oh, come to a stop. That's no good. There's our marshaller. I might have to just pop my head out the window here to see him though, as the nose comes out. We've got a little DV window open. I'll stick my head out. It'll be considerably louder than what we're hearing now. There we are. Oh, there's the travel lodge. I think there'd be a few people standing outside around this airport if we just landed here in Concorde. Now it gets very difficult. I'd need to be long neck Jim to be able to see this guy. Tell me to stop. Oh dear. Oh, it's very quiet Concorde this far. Right there, I'll stop. Excellent. Right, parking brake. We can now set. There we are. Visors coming up to the up position. We'd make sure prior to shutting the engines down that the GPU was connected, but I think it's already automatically modelled. You don't actually have to physically connect it. So we'll go straight outside once I've shut the engines down. Imagine GPU's connected then, and shut down engine 1 and 4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leeds Bradford. Oh, I love that sound. Suicidal marshal, absolutely doing it right. Oh. I just want to show people as well, if you were late to the stream, to give me a bit of credit. A lot of people are complaining about that very hard landing I did. I have to show it again. No, this is my excuse. Let me just get this video up one more time. If you want to see how the real Concorde lands here, this is just my defence, because I'm going to get bullied in the comment section for that landing. Are you a real pilot? Where's the old ding dong to show you the video? I mean, just give me a little bit of respite. Here is Air France performing the same landing I just did at Leeds. What would that be on the butter calculator, everyone? I think excess of -450. Just to show you how flipping hard this is here. Anyway, there we go. I always need to justify something. He's certainly a lot cooler than I ever would be, though. Very jealous. Anyway, amazing. Let's have a look at some of the comment section here then, because I was absolutely maxed out in the last 30 minutes there. So we've got, I think they've already lost the ones for the first approach. Yeah, that was, so the first one, yeah, I would have committed to the landing, because on the practice sectors, you know, those landings is what I needed, but we actually, I think I had too much speed. So when I actually touched down, we went straight back in the air again, which is why I executed the missed approach, because we would have gone off the end of the runway, you know, what I do in real life as well. Second approach, much better. Really happy with the speed, landing. You know, I just needed to do that on the first one. That's all it is. But yeah, in reality, it comes up wasted on the screen, guys. But I can assure you that landing rate that we did would have been fine in the real Concorde, would have been fine in a real 737. Yes, it'd probably need an inspection afterwards, a hard landing inspection, but the aircraft can take so much punishment. They are designed to be able to take landings like that there. Very cool. Yeah, all your comments coming in there were pretty funny there as well. But no, you're very, very kind of me on my final approach there, coming into land there. Cool. Manny32V said, my back. Christian said, nicely done. Thank you, Rohit. Not a phrase we hear very frequently. Oh, yes. Who do you think will win the F1, Max or Hamilton? Probably Hamilton, because I think he has a slightly stronger car. And there was Toxie, Connie requesting the taxi music there. Paul Shoesmith went out. Thank you very much there. Eddie, what a landing. Unbelievable. I know. Concorde to Toncontin next. I've done that approach at the NG. That's another challenging one. But no, I've been wanting to do this one for so long. And I'm so happy that we managed to do it today. And yes, Space Ninja will now jump into the replay so we can actually see how shockingly bad it looked like. Awesome. So let me do that and just get rid of Fly Live now. Excellent, and we can now cue the funky replay music. There we go. So let's pop ourselves. I'm not going to position it for the go around just because it might crash the replay. I just want to see the landing, really. Not that I don't want to show it, because it was atrocious, but it does actually probably going to crash the sim if I try and replay it all the way back there. But there we are. This is the landing we managed. Oh, I forgot the audio replay in the Colimata Concorde's all broken. You don't get the sounds, unfortunately. I think if I just replay it though and I do Shift 2, I might get the sound a bit though. Yeah, we do. I think that's better than Air France's one, although, oh, look at the tail. Look at the tail, it's so close to hitting the tail there. Oh, some inches. That is quite good. Got a little bounce there, but the slope doesn't help. See how it goes down, look. Oh, the slope, the scenery in Orbex, as I mentioned, is really nice, but the slopes are sort of, oh, look, we're so close. I mean, that's why it has that little tail wheel. It was really, really close. But the actual touchdown was, I don't think I can do any better than that. Not allowed going off the end of the runway. That's very close to tail strike. It didn't bend down though. I have done that before. There's we're going downhill. So I think on the first one we bounced because it goes downhill. It's so easy to get you down. I had, honestly guys, during this part of the flare after I touched down, look at that, so close. I had full nose down at this point. There you go, look at the elevons. You see here, I had full nose down, and the nose just would not go down. I had full nose down, eventually started coming down, and then as soon as we touched down, below 100 knots, I could start braking, but not before that. If you start braking with the nose wheel up, you're going to smash it into the runway. That's a great view. You can see, yeah, oh! Just look at that the little wheel there. I'll just do a slow-mo. Look how close it was to the ground. Didn't strike though. Look at that. I mean, it was 10 centimetres. Oh, No tail strike though. No tail strike. Very, very close. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Cloud City skylines. Unbelievable. Alright, Jack, nearly done, bud. Right, one more. Let's just do one more from the tower. Oh, we're on to the second replay part of the song here because I'm taking so long. One more. Fortunately, just no noise. Oh, it'd be great if we had external noise during the replay. I think the Air France landing was harder. I think this was a little better. Oh, a little bounce. Yeah, I think that was just the runway slope more than anything. There is exaggerated ground effect in X-Plane. There's the full nose down. A little bit off centre line, but well within what's required. And then by the time the nose touched down, we're already on the touchdown zone for the reciprocal runway. Absolutely balmy. Anyway then guys, that's it for another live stream. I hope you enjoyed seeing me in the Colimata Concorde again. V2 has just been recently updated. I think the changes are a lot under the skin sort of things, but the INS, you know, is usable. I don't think it's quite as good as the Seaver one, but I'm happy to use it instead of the plug-in because it stops the stutters. If you want, you can control all the fuel manually now, but I prefer rather leave it to Jim to manage. But no, very enjoyable indeed. I hope you enjoyed it too. Now, unfortunately, I think I have to actually be on stand with the visor up. Well, I can actually control it in the replay. That's even better. As there's not really much of a decent wing view or anything, I'm going to leave you in sort of like a GoPro camera position so you can enjoy the landing from, let's say, that view there, and then you can enjoy the 180, and then we'll call it a day. Guys, to everyone that donated, thank you so much for your generosity. To all the members, thank you so much for your continued support. To all my regular viewers and subscribers, thank you so much for popping in. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button if you enjoy the video, and looking forward to streaming again very soon. It'll be before I go back to work on Thursday, probably something on Tuesday. I am on standby, I think, on Thursday, but I'll keep you posted on the social media pages anyway. Guys, stay safe as ever, and I'll see you on another live stream very soon. Bye for now.
Feet. 300. 200 feet. 100 feet.